So hey guys, we are going live. I don't know why it's yellow. It's always yellow. The reason why is because I'm going on Chad's show, which is the Real Talk Solutions. So if you want to go to Blog Talk Radio right now, I will be live on the Real Talk Solutions. So I thought while I'm live there, I might be live here, and then I can answer some of your questions. So hi. Greg's on right now. I'm just going to keep going because I have to get on this live talk show. And I know he's already on the air. And so I'm going to be going on there as well. Thank you guys for chiming in. I'm sorry about the yellow light. It's really strange, right? But it is what it is. But keep it moving. Okay. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you'll be able to listen to the show. Hey, Greg, can you hear that? It's so distorted. The hell? Okay, this camera a little bit more. So anyway, for those who might be chiming in, we're going live on Chat Show, the Real Talk Solution on Blog Talk Radio. And while we are live there, I am going to be live here. So I think I'm going to switch mics. If the sucker will work. I don't know if the sucker will work. That mic is not working. It's not working. See, mic. It's still using a computer mic. But keep it good work and fight. Like, oh, the light's fine, really? This light looks red. I mean yellow. It's like, I'm working on it. Them lights cost money. I need to get one of those better lights. Hey, Chet. That's all right. I'm here. So I'm gonna I'm turning on my show so that they chime in yours as well.
Tara, you see there,
so you guys who are chiming in, just to let you know that we are live on Chad's show, Real Talk Solutions, which is Blog Talk Radio. So if you can't hear him very well, you can go on his show. Ooh. Got a lot of distortion going on. So go to Blog Talk Solutions. I'll turn him down. I'm going to go on a different computer because, oh no, I don't think I have to. Oops. All I have to do is open up a different window. And then I can watch you guys talk. Because Greg is in one area. Let's see. Okay. I think I was saying the same thing. I might get. I think I was saying the same thing. Okay.
In which the world was in today. But even black people. The chaos. And tonight. Oh, and one other thing. Is Mara talking here?
I'm here. I'm here. I'm definitely here. I'm here.
Nice.
Kenneth, where's the mic on this computer? Okay.
Before I bring my guest, I would like everybody to go to talksolutions.com. It's a website to find the latest news that's going on across the country regardless of what happens to other people. And in Talk Solutions, you'll see the 3-point achievement and Black empowerment. And under the 3-point plan website, you also find a list of Black-owned established banks located and listed across this country. I think there's 32 banks still existing here that's Black-owned in America. But all that information will be here on the website. So,
okay, I have him on mute. I am going to be on Blog Talk Radio. Let me, I'll put in the link where I'm at so you guys can maybe hear him better.
And these are little things we should do anyway as racial people, as racial climate in this country is, and we all know Black dollars circulating up the Black. But by doing our part enough, we go to see the result. So they slowly fix the problems we have.
So that's where I'm at. So if you want to hear him better, you can turn me off, but you can see me. And then if you want me to ask questions, yeah. Oh, he's on YouTube as well.
All the recent shows on YouTube as well, and on blogtalkradio.com.
I don't think he's live right now on YouTube in the future.
Previous broadcasts from Chao Reign or any other previous broadcasts, like the ABC and so-called Sarge, yeah, and Weldon, and I believe Kenneth, and don't forget tune in every Thursday for the news. I tell you, we can have some shows that go on 7 days a week. But, we have enough to not only entertain but inform Black community. Other than that, I think I said my piece. So, and Miss Husar, are you there? If you're the first one on your phone.
I am here. How are you doing today?
Oh, and another thing. While I wait for my guest,
oh, you can't hear me. Can you hear me?
If y'all don't mind, y'all could also check the website.
Hello?
And there is a donation where you can give as little as $1 or $2 and donate to the show.
I am not on mute. It must be on his side.
Show, but also potentially extend the show so we can have even further shows and make it a little longer than usual. So I think that's been my piece. Let me go. All right. Miss Shirley, if you're there, press 1 on your phone. So I could open your mic.
You are now in the host queue.
Okay. Like, wait, can't hear me. Okay. Gotta hear the queen. All right, let's talk. So, hey, you guys, if you want to ask questions, go to his Blog Talk channel. I don't know if they're chatting there, but I'm there now. I don't see. Oh, I see where you can make a comment. Maybe you can, but you can't ask me questions here. So, all right, Greg says, keep up the good work. Thank you, Greg.
Okay, all right. So, no further ado, I'd like to welcome you, Miss Shirley Husar. Open your mic.
Hey, how are you doing today? Can you hear me?
Hello, Miss Husar.
Yes. Yeah, I'm here.
You are now off the host queue.
Oh, shit.
You are now in the host queue.
I'm in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Oh, you're here.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you now.
Oh, good. Yay.
For some reason, my internet was acting up. It was not opening your mic.
Okay, great. I'll try to repeat some of the questions as I talk.
Oh, no, I opened it up. So everybody can hear. Good evening, Ms. Husar. Welcome to Talk Real Solutions for the very first time. There's always a thing we do, like any guest, especially on my show, Chao Reign. Before we always step into subject matter of things, we like to take a step back and know that description of, from let's say the beginning to the present of talk position. First time you lived that by yourself, Ms. Husar.
No, that's fine. It sounds great. That's fine.
No, you can tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you like to start the show. I didn't know if you were going to pray or something. Okay, so let me tell you who I am. My name is Shirley Husar. I'm the CEO of Urban Game Changers, where we go into urban communities and we hold elected officials accountable as well as ourselves. I have always been an activist and an advocate for urban community changes since I was a little girl back in the day in Los Angeles. I'm dating myself now. I go back to before they had Martin Luther King parade. I was one of the first people to be part of that parade. I remember Tom Bradley. I remember Julian Dixon. I remember when Maxine Waters won her first seat. Over the years, I've seen the decline of African Americans in the state of California. We are down to 6% now in California because of chain migration and illegal immigration and immigration. So being an activist means that I like to be engaged, and my parents owned their own business since I was a little girl. The name of the location was called Tiny Town College. It was on 39th in Vermont. And I was real excited because I learned so much from my parents about being active and getting into the urban communities and building relationship with your own people. Fast forward, where we're at now is tragic because there's so many Black businesses that I have knew of that no longer exist. Grants, loans, financial opportunities, visas to allow immigrants to bring in money into the community didn't filter back down to Black people. They didn't really collaborate with us. They don't assimilate with us. And because of that, that immigration and illegal immigration has caused the demise of Black communities. Black people, as you know, are getting gunned down in California. They're being stabbed. Racial tension is at an all-time high. I am also on the flip side of what am I as far as Republican, Democrat, Independent. I am a Republican. I have always been a Republican, so I didn't walk away. I've always been standing, as I say, hashtag always been standing. Why did I become a Republican? Because I believe in the principle of less government and more opportunities in a form of capitalism, not just by governmental programs, but self-application, being interactive to take care of oneself, using oneself to move forward, but not knowing the right way. People talk about nonprofits. I knew people who had that as well. My father had a nonprofit, but I also, as I've gotten older, I learned LLCs, S corporations, OPM, other people's money. So in urbangamechangers.com, we are building leaders across the country that are magnificent, that are in each state, and their job is to know the pain and find a solution. And so my first step with everyone is I ask them, what is the pain in your urban communities, the pain politically that has disrupted your life or disrupting your community?
Okay, excellent. I was wondering, Shirley, are you familiar with the history of Democrat and Republican, of its origins? Because I think during the founding fathers of this country, this was always founded on the Republic. You know what time frame when the Democrats came into existence?
I am a Republican, so I'll talk from that standpoint. I'm not a specialist in Democrats. I know the Democrat created the Ku Klux Klan, but I would tell you the Republican Party was the first party to give African Americans the right to vote. If we go back to the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment with Lincoln, when they needed African Americans to, that were divided on the Civil War, Black people were used as commodity, as cotton, for the cotton gin, for picking, and the North felt that it was wrong to enslave a human for one's man and for one yield. After so long, America was established on the backs of Black people. So let me back up. I'm all over the place. Let me come back. In 1619, 20 Africans came into this country via way the Dutch warmen, and they came into Virginia. Those 20 Africans multiplied to where we are today. Those were called African Americans. They were brought here as labor. They were brought here as cattle. They were not considered human. They traded us like a stock exchange. They bred us like animals that you breed to multiply your farms. And so there was no human connection other than these people were slaves. Um, During the duration of Americans' conception, they used us, and not in conjunction of saying, oh, work, you work, we pay you. They used us as far as, like I said, animals to build America. By the mid 1880s and 1885s, of course, the emancipation happened in 1850, 1865 was the emancipation where Black people were no longer slaves. And then later on, Juneteenth is where certain parts of the South didn't get the news the same time as others. So that's when they said we were really freed. So let's talk about the parties. So now a Black person is now considered a person of value, meaning that they're a person versus just a commodity. They're still a commodity, but they're a person who needs to be recognized as a person. So the Republican Party, which was the party of Lincoln, was the one that instilled that we no longer should have these people as slaves, but as freed men. And that's when we became free. And many of the Blacks became Republican because of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, which empowered us as a human to some degree, because we're still 1/4, 1/3. Don't get me right with those numbers, because I know I could be wrong, of a man. And that's a whole nother story. That but when you go to jail, you're no longer a freed person. You're basically a slave. And under the Obama administration, Black people should have been advocate to try to become a whole man in any form of life that you might enter into. If you do crime and you go in jail, you should still be considered a whole man of a person versus a person that was less than a person, that reverted back to a law of the 1800s. Anyway, I'm trying to answer your question, so I'm building you up through history. So now we are citizens of the United States. We're considered free people. We have the Northerners and the Southerners, and we're going to the Civil War. That war had to consist of commodity and the cotton trade and their pocketbooks. When you talk to people who are the Dixiecrats, they were concerned about looking at Blacks as their pocketbooks. Where there were a lot of conservative Republicans. You can go see the movie The Lincoln. I got to figure out which movie that was. It was brilliant. I'll look it up online and I'll tell people. That's the one that I felt was more correlating to history, and it showed what they were trying to do in the course of history. And, of course, Lincoln died. But that's where Black people became Republicans. Fast forward to the 60s with Lyndon Johnson and the presidents at that time. There is a lot of different interpreted versions of why we switched. Part of it, I've been told, is when King was incarcerated, the Republicans didn't came out for his behalf. So what they end up doing is he had a relationship with Kennedy. As you know, Kennedy was a Democrat, and so therefore more Black people came on board. But also you find in the Lyndon Johnson addendum and other things that Lyndon Johnson did, he was very racist. And that's where Black people got away from the Black family, the Black man, the alpha Black man, taking care of his family, working for his worth, being able to have differences with his spouse or girlfriend, and she couldn't run to nobody else, and they had to work it out. We don't do that anymore. Government has built infrastructures of destruction within the Black community because of EBT, welfare, things of those natures, things that are subsidized for a woman and her child. That black man, when he gets out of jail, that's a whole nother story because of mass incarceration and privatized prison and driving while Black. This is all these little divisions to divide us. And it's all imposed upon these governmental programs, which were created by the Democrat Party. So the Democrat still party, which is the Dixiecrats, I told you, which were the white Southerners who had a difference with the Northerners, always had an ideology of commodity of trades and goods. But when it comes to African American people, we were those commodities. We're still that on the stock exchange, because a lot of people don't realize that those who are part of the prison system are a part of a privatized prison system. That privatized prison system have to hit a certain number and mark. And so let's say that the decline of whatever they use those people for was down, they need to get more men. So therefore they have underground things that they're doing to build more men into their baseline and find ways to more of us being incarcerated. So that's how I knew for me that the Democrat Party was not right, because of the commodity and trades, because they continue to talk about abortion. They push the gay agenda, they push the LGBT, and they push Black women to become more dyke, more mannish. They don't want to see a Black man and a woman together. The Black man in California are very emasculated. Huh?
Whoa. Did you say the Democrat?
Yeah.
That comes to my head a little bit. Oh, shit. All right, keep going.
Okay, so the Democrats, and we're talking about commodity, right? And we're talking about, I'm going back to Lyndon Johnson and all these rules, the Roosevelt, all these rules of government imposed products that are supposed to help the people. We're going to help you out. Your man's in jail, you got a baby, we'll give you some cards. But if he comes back, see, there's clauses. Listen to what I'm saying. There's clauses with their contribution of what they're going to give you. Everybody got a clause, okay? It's like that guy said, baby, you need this money. You know what you got to do, right? You know what you got to do to get this money. See, there's a clause. You need some money. He needs some services done, okay? So the government is the same way. They're saying, look, there's some clauses, people. You want this check? Yeah, I want it monthly. Yeah, you don't have to work? Nope. I don't have to work? Nope. You don't have to go to school? You don't know. Do I have to do any community service? Nope. What do I have to do? You have to pretty much sell your soul. So when your man get out, you can't have no man in the house. Well, how's she supposed to get some dick? She don't get no dick because she can't have no man in the house, okay? She can only have her and her kids to get that check. If they find out he's there, they're going to kick him out. That's another form of division. They went to the Black churches. Where did we meet at? Did we meet at Walmart? There was no Walmart. Did we meet at different conventions and halls and hotels? No, because they burned them down on Black Wall Street in the 1920s. We met in the church. So Lyndon Johnson said, I know how to mess these Negroes up. We're going to give them a tax break and exempt them and tell them, you know what? We love you, Jesus people. Yes, we do. Hallelujah. And matter of fact, you special Jesus people, this is what we're going to do for you, Jesus people. We are going to go ahead and allow you to not pay any taxes. Hallelujah. Praise God. This is wonderful. Yes, if you just sign up and become a 501c, you get to write your taxes down. Yes. Oh, hallelujah. But there's a catch. No, not really a catch. There's just one thing we won't let you do. And if you do this, you could possibly lose your tax exemption. And they're like, well, what is that? If you decide to talk about politics within your church. If you talk about politics within your church, we will pull your tax exemption and you will no longer be able to be tax-free. Now you think about these Jesus people, and I'm a Christian, by the way. I am a born-again Christian. I believe that Jesus Christ is the Lord and Savior of my life, but I believe there's a lot of perpetrators. I believe a lot of ministers are not in the community, and there are a lot of people who worship their pastor as if they are a God, calling them names and saying first lady, second man, and all of that. And same people who won't even serve you a chicken dinner once a month or some breakfast at the church because they don't want to spend any money thinking that they're going to get sued. But that's another story. So now you have these Black men who said, that's cool. I can keep my money and not pay taxes, but I can't talk politics. So now where do Black people talk? Okay, there's no social media. There's no social media now. From the 60s all the way up to what Facebook launched in 2006 and internet launched in 90s. So you tell me, where do we talk at?
But actually, in 2004, it launched.
Facebook did? Okay, so Facebook launched in 2004, but the internet launched, I think, in the 90s or the 80s, and Black people still wasn't on those platforms. 93. Black people were not engaged in online to that capacity of a social media. Okay, I remember I had a website. My brother was in technology. He passed away, but I learned DOS. I learned dot matrix. That's why all my sons are in tech, because I had Atari when other kids didn't have Atari, and I had to learn tech very, very young. But I will tell you this. when it came to us having, again, I'm going back to the communication, okay? That's the point I'm trying to make, is that we had no form in the church. We had no online voice. Where do we talk? We stopped talking about how government controls our lives and government can disrupt our lives and disrupt our community. And we got into ourselves. You know, brothers are like, hey, I got my money. She got hers. We cool. We chilling. We ain't got to work. I ain't got to work. She got that Section 8 check. She got that EBT card, nigga. What you worry about? What you worry about? Damn, dog. What you talking about? My bitch got me taken care of. I ain't got no shit. I sit my ass down. She do whatever I say. She do. So now you got this kind of nigga born, right? What the fuck was his daddy? Excuse me for cursing. His daddy is in jail. His uncle's in jail. All of them in jail because they hustling the dollar. They doing the hustle. In the 80s, you had drug, cocaine, and cocaine because it was a commodity of trades and goods. We don't talk about commodity. Commodity of trades and goods are real estate, diamond, art, fuel, utilities. Those are things that we as African-American people are not doing. But government won't let you get to that level because they're saying, don't worry about acquiring those assets. We'll provide you what those assets provide you, which is money. Now, you don't realize you're getting pennies for the dollars. You're not making millions of dollars. You don't know about how to take a stock or buy maybe penny stocks or saying, hey, if my mother would have bought Google when it first launched, what would it be worth now? It's worth billions of dollars. What if my aunt would have bought Yahoo? It would have been worth millions of dollars. But, you know, we were not communicating with each other. And it was because government imposing into our communities a thought plan of seize, conquer, and divide. Now, I'm not going to stop by saying Republicans are perfect because they're not perfect either. They're the one that opened that gateway of chain migration. Okay, a chain migration. Actually, I'm going to do a video of this. Really started with the Chinese. When we were right towards the end of the slave trade, many of the Chinese refugees were coming to America for safe haven. And America opened their arms and let them go on the railroad lines with us. So they were building railroads along with us, the Chinese as well as the Black people. And there's this thing called Sun paper. Look it up. Sun paper were papers that the Chinese created that were fake. And they were illegal Chinese people that came into this country, changed their name, and claimed they had a wife. And so the American people let them bring their wife, and their wife had a brother, and that brother got his fake papers done, so on and so forth. To the point, there's a video where this girl says she was doing her historical ancestry, and she realized her name was not real. This little Chinese girl in America says, my grandfather lied. We are not those people. We are another person, and I'm here illegally. Now, she was born here, but she said, I'm here illegally. Now, this is what I think about these anchor babies. That means if your parents are illegal, you're illegal. But because of what they did, are you there? Okay. Because of what they did, all the laws of immigration started to twist. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Okay, because of all the manipulation of immigration and illegal immigration and the laws between. Can you hear me? He's still not here. Talking to myself, y'all. Thank you for listening. On Facebook, I see Killer of the White Supreme and cool. Oh my God.
Wait. That's me.
Can you hear me?
This is a Mary. Turn that down.
Oh my.
Hold on.
I'm on his show.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, Mary, you on Tower Show. Wait, what's going on? Hello, can you hear me?
I guess we're having somebody else added to his show.
I just heard the button right now. What's good, man?
I'm trying to do it.
Whenever you're ready. Yeah, it's fine. You're live. What's up, second? Hold on 1 second.
Can you hear me?
Right now, I was waiting on hold for you there? What's good?
Okay, so yes, I'm here. That is his show, Blog Talk, you guys.
Like 2 people saying hello.
Hello?
Hold on, am I still on? Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. I think control the board. So you there?
I am here.
Yeah. Sarah Thompson, you there?
here.
Who's hosting tonight, man? Is it Kelly? Yeah. I don't know. I forgot I'm muted right now. I just wanted to say something, but let me know when it's my turn, brother. I'll sit back. All right, cool. Let me adjust because somebody's controlling board for some reason. Ain't you hosting today or somebody else? Yes.
I'm on live right now. Here you guys.
When you're ready, brother. I'm gonna sit back. You let me know when you're good. All right. I'm Katina Husar, and I'm gonna have to open my other computer because something's going on here. Let's get talking.
Okay, so I was talking about the Chinese and the Sun paper. They created fake documents to enter in America. And I think you guys need to look that up. You need to read that because we talk about the Latinos, but the Latinos were not the first people to come here trying to come here illegally. They were here because what they wanted to do is come into America and bring all their people, and they're flooding and they're flooding. And every time immigrations flood into America, they come where? Into our communities. So in conclusion, when we think about parties, Republican or Democrat, what matters, listen to me, what matters is that you know who your elected officials are. Can you hear me? Okay. It's important that you know who. I want you to be empowered because this is the problem. Government wants to keep us dumb. Black elected officials is a bunch of bullshit. These people have been in office too long. They're clowning, they're cooning, they're doing earmarks. Now you guys said, what is earmarks? Let's say a bill is put on the table for the state to fix some roads. Okay, it is a $20 million bill or a bond that's out there. They have their staff write bullshit notes underneath there saying that money also needs to go towards Tamara's diapers to help people who have the children who are working on the roads. I'm just giving a hypothetical story that's not real. Okay, I'm just trying to help y'all understand what an earmark is. It passes the bill. That $20 million is available. They act according to the diapers that were built that are $20 million. Maybe let's say $2 million might be going towards the diapers. The diapers never seem to come to manifestation. The road is built, but that $2 million that they skim, that they wrote in an earmark on the bill in the state and even in the feds are not working in the best interest of Black people. So we still dreaming. We're still dreaming.
Let me ask you a question, sister. Are you for Republican racist trap? Hold on, Jay. Before I want to say something. I didn't want somebody before me. I'll sit back. Let me know when it's my turn. I'll sit back. Yeah, I gotta get this control because somebody's running forward for some reason. Is there somebody before me though? No way. You don't want to open your mic. You were the first one that you press one. But no, I'm gonna get to the line. Give me a second. All right, cool. Just let me know when I'm in. I'll sit back, brother. I know you got your guests. So I'm gonna sit back. I'll just chill. Yeah. All right. Well, let's say that Mr. Darker team. Well, let's try it. I'm gonna get the computer right now. Let me check if she's.
I'm still here.
Is she there?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, so why don't I let you guys talk? Because go ahead and ask your questions.
I got questions. Is there somebody before me or that was on hold as well or what? Let me know, Gary, because I'll sit back. If there's somebody you can ask your questions. Well, it's not really somewhat of a question as well as a response to what she's saying. So basically, I heard that you was a Republican, right? And to each his own on that. I'm not going to get into all that. But I want to say, are you falling into the whole Republican mindset, that the general mindset that's going on? And this is just one of the many questions that I'm going to ask, but I'll try to limit it. And then I would say, listen, I got, and I made it clear on this show, I got Puerto Rican family here. So I don't give a fuck what anybody on here says, whether they like Puerto Ricans or they like Spanish, they don't like it. I got family that I'm connected to, half Black, half Puerto Rican, whether you like it or not. They are Black. They have a Puerto Rican in them. However, they ain't nobody, made the decision why they became Puerto Rican or their family is what it is. and that's my family. I'm not going to deny that. I want to say to this, are you falling into the white man's trap in the sense of, they're not giving you a motherfucking thing as a black man or black woman, and then they make the enemy as the Hispanic when they're not really doing nothing for the black community that's already here, and I get it. I would say that you would take care of the people that are in this community first, and I definitely agree with that first. Regardless whether I have family that have Spanish, have Latino, whatever. But I would say that the first thing is first is that you clean up what's going on in this country first, and the people that was here first and put blood, sweat, and tears. But then you have a community of people that also came here after or during, and they also put in the work, right? And they put in work, and they also identify with Afro, Cuban, Afro, Latino, however you want to look at it. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm looking at right now is that everybody is pointing the finger, and again, I don't have no Mexican family, and I still really don't get too crazy about what they're doing or they're not doing, because I know that there's a history even in their history. They have history in the United States where they owned it, whether they owned it or not. That's a debate, right? But what I'm saying is that are we falling into this fighting against different communities when it's just one community that's really putting everybody against everybody else while they benefit everything else? Because I see that, everybody's talking about the Europe, not the European. They talking about the Latino community. They're also talking about the Arabic community, and then you got even some black people talking about the African community and the Caribbean community that also have the same color, but they might not, for whatever reason, don't connect with these people that are arguing about, well, they're not African or they're not. But then you got African American that don't identify with African people. So where we at? Because I see that it's all about separation, and it's like, well, I'm only fucking with my people that Black American and shit. When you don't even know the background of these Black Americans that go back, if you start looking at the lineage, goes back to another country somewhere or another, right? And then we're identifying with this country that is the United States of America because we were born here, or whoever brought our families here, and then we were born here, fortunate enough or unfortunate enough. And we feel comfortable and we say, well, this is all that. But then the white man that was also came from somewhere else at some point is making you fight against the Mexican and everybody else from South America, Central America, and even Africa. But they're not trying to fuck with you either. So as much as you identify with the Republican and you identify as an African American, they don't give a fuck about you. So I'm trying to figure out what makes you identify closer to these white people or feel comfortable like, yo, this is my country. Like, nah, these people is coming from other places. Like, you feel comfortable as a white person, almost like feeling like, yeah, this is my country, when the white person looks at you and don't give a fuck about you either. Wish that he could identify where the fuck you from to send your ass back to Africa or wherever the fuck your roots is from. So I'm just trying to figure that out because again,
okay, so I'm gonna. You're asking a lot of questions. Okay, wrap it up.
Separation, and I get it. Listen, at the first thing is first. I'm not saying that you got to deal with everybody else, but I see this whole thing about like enemy playing against enemy and these people, this other, and I would say that of course you have to deal with your people and your immediate community first. I would say that deal with the people that's around you and that you can identify with instead of saving everybody else. But what I'm saying is that at the same time, they're trying to make you be against everybody else when they don't give a fuck about you either. The white man, whether they're Irish, Italian, or whatever, and they fucking been here for years, like Donald Trump or whatever.
Okay, can I ask you?
Acting like, oh well, it's the Mexican, it's the South American, it's the Central American, when he don't give a fuck. All right.
Whew, thank you.
My voice broke out.
Yeah, you know what? I would like. I would like to talk to him. Can you unmute him real quick? And I want to ask him a question.
All right. Damn, baby. You should have let me go, Gary. I mean, I was trying to explain everything so she could hear exactly what I was saying. So let me finish what I was going to say real quick. Hold on, Gary. Hold on. I'm not going against your caller. I'm just trying to figure out where we at. I'm just saying that how do you identify with the white man that also don't give a fuck about you as a black man or black woman, whether you're born and raised in the United States or you're from another place or you have descendants? So how do you identify with that? That will probably be the general question. And I'll sit back.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask you a couple of questions? Thank you so much for calling in, first of all. Okay, and what's your name again? Hello?
JNYC.
Okay, JNY. So let me ask you a couple of questions, and I'm going to answer your questions. What state do you live in currently right now?
Repeat that again, sir?
What state do you live in?
What state?
Yes. What state do you live in?
I'm in New York State, New York City.
Okay, so you're in New York. Okay. And you say you're half black and half Puerto Rican?
No, well, if you want to say that, but I have Puerto Rican family. Yes, I have so you could throw me in there with them. Yeah.
Okay, so you are a child of immigrants into America.
All child of immigrants, sister, at some point.
Okay, yeah, but you are a child. So you're a child of immigrants, and so your family are very proud Puerto Ricans, and you probably are a very proud Puerto Rican African American.
My cousins are very proud Puerto Ricans and black. So you have family that is born African American here, and they have Puerto Rican, have black. Some of them, their parents were born in America. Some of them parents was born in Puerto Rico. So it's mixed up. But yeah, if you want to, however you want to identify, we'll go from that. So yeah, let's just say that we're from all over the place. Now what?
Okay.
Tell me where you coming from.
So where I'm going with this is that my history is different than yours. And let me share my history. My grandfather was a slave in this country. My father had me very, very late in life. He was born in 1920. My grandfather was born in 1886, and my great-grandfather was born in 1854. I have 88.9% African in me. I am a child of the indigenous slave tribe. The people that I came from built this country because they brought us here, as I stated at the beginning of this conversation, as commodity. The problem with Black America is most Black people are confused of who deserves the rights to the children of the indigenous slaves' benefits that built and bred this country. So we all have a different perspective and interpretation of being Black. And then you said in your conversation that later on, all these other people came in here and did the work. No, all these other people came in here and they utilized the work that was done by my people. My people built this country. My people were used as commodity. My people, no, I let you talk. I did not cut you off. The children of the indigenous slave tribe, the ones who have direct descendants to the slaves in this country, built this country. Okay, then people migrated and immigrated here, but the slaves, the Black slaves, no matter what African they came from, are the ones of that slave tribe. During the duration of that slavery, we were raped, we were bred, and all other blood and DNA is in our systems. Okay, so those children now have been mixed in with all these other people who come here and they use this country because of its infrastructure, the failed infrastructure of all these other countries, and they see the free infrastructures of America. And what I said, I asked you where you were from because California only has 6% Blacks here because of immigration. You don't live near the border of Mexico. You don't have people coming in who are Chinese through Mexico. You don't have people who are El Salvadorian, Guadalajara, or people who are Lebanese coming in through the border, who also filtrating Black communities and bombing our communities while our Black men, our Alpha Black men are in jail. So all those are governmental set up systems to divide us. So now to answer your question regarding the white man, I ain't worried about the white man because I'm about making money. I am about capitalism. When other people don't want it, to give it to me. I will take every nigga who don't want no money. I take your money because I'm a capitalist. And I am a Republican because a Republican believes in less government. But instead, the Democrats believe in more government. So then we have black people who don't say, don't be a Republican, don't be a Democrat, don't be independent, but yet you live in an infrastructure built on the Constitution, which was not written for us. So where do we fit in all this? It's all about any game that you play in business. It's about leverage, if you're familiar with that. That means that you need to leverage yourself as a commodity because that is all we are and still are today. If you get in certain businesses with governmental contracts, they have to allot so much for black people. And so you could be one of those leveraged Negroes. But instead, you want to tell yourself, well, I'm Puerto Rican and I'm black and I got to worry about all these other people. I have a feeling and a notion regarding immigration and illegal immigration, which has been divisive and destructive and hatred in Los Angeles. And Los Angeles for black people. Can you hear me now?
A little bit. Come closer. If you can come closer to it, because when you speak, I hear you and then it fades out a little bit.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is this better for you?
Still sounds the same.
I don't know what's going on.
Do me a favor, Miss Shirley. Shirley, do me a favor. Hang up and call back.
Okay, I'm gonna hang up. Woo! A lot going on. Before I call back, what questions out there? Envy, thank you me greatly for coming on because I can't monitor and talk at the same time. That's why I want you to email me and let you know about the show. Thank you, Jesus, so much. Hillary Smith for coming in, for Gerald coming in, for Jewel coming in. All you guys for coming in and chiming in. I appreciate it. The donations that you guys constantly make and the love that you show towards me is immensely appreciated. Truly appreciated. So I'm trying to drop a dime on this brother. And I know he says, you're right. I appreciate that. Who else is out there? Doug. Oh, my God. I love my Doug. Thank you, Doug, for being here. We need more conservative blacks that speak like Shirley. You know, I didn't care about this nigga being from Puerto Rico. But, you know, see, this is what I'm talking about. They're gonna put us with all these other people. Well, I got it in me and I got to let you know about them. This is about black people. Black people. Either you're going to be here or you're not going to be with us. Okay, I'm preaching and they ain't online. But anyway, you know, we always got to include everybody else. I'm not all black. I've got other things in me. I'm not going around talking about the European blood in me, saying we got to bring the Europeans in with the black people because we're not all black. No, nigga, I'm a nigga. That. Okay, I'm back.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you'll be able to listen to the show.
What I'm saying, I wish you wouldn't say that somebody is messing with
you are now in the host queue.
That's not true. Sometimes DTR be acting up and our browsers don't be catching up.
Okay, can you hear me now? I'm back.
That kind of makes the show look good. But there's no one with that board, man.
Can you?
Now I'm sure like a person now.
Can you hear me now?
And I just don't know what ABC is. Nobody was an ABC show.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, can you? Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me now? So.
I'm about to hit the club right now, man. It's Sunday night in New York City. I'm about to hit the club. So.
Well, while you're hitting the club, let me say something. While you hit the club, can I talk? While you hit the club, I think every black person should be learning about commodities, trades, and goods and service. Okay? While we chasing ass and drinking and partying. Okay, that's been good for you. All I can tell you is that I believe that black people should learn to leverage. They need to learn to understand the ways of commodity and trading and don't be caught up in the party of Republican or Democrat. You live in freaking America, okay? You live in this country. You need to instill rights and laws that are in the best interest of these people. which is us.
All right. No. So what I wanted to say was I definitely agree with you that this is about making money and stuff like that. But I like that's what I'm saying. Like I gotta live my life in New York City. We born hustlers. I don't know in other states and cities you got born hustlers everywhere.
Oh, let me help. Hold on. Can I talk? Can I say something since you're leaving? I'm a CEO of Story.com. Okay. So I understand tech. My children are all in tech. I understand about hustling because my parents own their own business for 20 years. My father wasn't no street hustler, a drug addict. My mother and my parents came from the South, from the South and came to California and hustled their ass. California is the third, fifth largest economy. And so I knew what happened in this state with illegal immigration and all these foreign people that come in here and push black people out. Okay, I'm tired of the media and I'm tired of black people thinking that there's not successful blacks in the world. Oh my God. Okay, I'm trying to do dog show, but like really? Like really? Like he can't get his PA and his monitoring together, which is still kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. But now this man gonna come on, ask for a question, and then he gonna talk about he going to the club. What the fuck's with this nigga? This little nigga right here. You know, he probably about 5'4". Anyway, I'm not trying to be mean, but it pisses me off when people want to go into a heated debate. You start throwing out nuggets to them to try to educate them. They don't want to hear that. They just want to talk about you believe in this white supremacist madness. Da, da, da. Oh, come on. Let's keep it real. Really? Really? We live in freaking America. We deserve our rights. People die so that we have the right to live and benefit off the lands that are here. We don't live. You know who else benefits? The gays, the lesbians, and the liberal progressives. They are the ones that utilize the system and not in our best interest. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, are we? Am I back now?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, so I'm talking about. I'm live on my YouTube channel as I talk to you. So people are chatting and they're listening in. I have also shared your blog talk radio. Look, let's just go back to, I tried to answer his question. Obviously, this gentleman has to go get him some ass and he needs to go get him a 40 and some gin and tonic. So let that nigga go because he don't know about making real money. So let's keep it black, real black. Well, this is about leverage and commodities. Okay, this is about how black people need to understand those things and understand that the civil rights is being leveraged against us. That's why the gays circumvented the streets because California voted gay marriage down twice, I think maybe almost 3 times. And they circumvented us and went to the Supreme Court. They argued the matter based on the premise of the civil rights, where the black people didn't rise up and say, you can't, as a white man that sucks dick, be able to ride off the blacks of black people. But they did it and they won. And then Trump got in, he did a lot of reversals on those issues. And now you have black women who want to act like they the man, and the black man's in jail. We have dysfunctions in our culture. We have financial dysfunctions in our culture. And the rest of America are leveraging off of us, including the immigrants and the illegal immigrants.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
and you know, interesting. And I'm going to open the next mic for the next caller. It's interesting to know that if you saw the video with the preachers, and one Latino preacher said that, what can you do for my people and all the other Negro preachers? Oh
my God, I was so pissed. First, what the fuck is he in the room for? Including Paula White. What kind of black man? Tell me. Oh my God, if you listening and you know anybody to go to her church, and I'm not saying she can't teach the word, but if you know a black man to go to this white woman's church and is emasculated by letting your pastor rule your life. A white woman is your advisor and your mentor and everything else on your spiritual level, and you go to her church. And so now this white woman governs over these black people, their tribes of slaves. That's what I feel. I want the Afrocentric alpha black man to rise today. I am tired of us supporting these people who want to act like they're better than us. Now, them other Negroes, y'all need to watch that video. I downloaded it. I didn't get up on my YouTube channel, but I will. If you can find online, look at all these pastors. Not to cut you off, but you got me heated, so I'm going to answer your question. There was one Mexican man, okay? And I talked about this on my YouTube channel. I talk about the leveraging of these Latinos who have their own caucus. And all they talk about is money, numbers, and what they bring to the table. And they addressed the president, who is the most powerful man in America. And they addressed the most powerful man in America. And they said, Mr. Most Powerful Man in America, we have numbers and we have leverage and we have people. Mr. Most Powerful Man in America, our people are the most wealthiest or whatever, the most commodity bringing or whatever he said in America, ethnic group that brings something to the table. The other Negroes are saying, you know, we're so blessed and God bless you, Mr. Trump, for having us here. My church has been praying for you and we're praying for you. All they're doing is praying. See, the scripture said faith without works is dead. It says, do not cast your pearls before the swine. These people don't even plant seeds of commodity of trades and goods in the hands of a powerful man. I don't care about this white man. What I care about is the opportunity that we should be given a seat at the table. Knowing that if they put activists like us who are online and who are on the streets and we are talking with each other, we sit before him, we put a proposal together. Mr. Trump, thank you for this opportunity. I just want to let you know that the African-American people in this country have been the longest and oldest minority group that have contributed greatly. We built, developed, and made America so that every other ethnic group could ride on the backs of blacks. And we are so grateful to be here so that they can realize and understand that their wealth actually is ours. Now, people don't know how to play. That man said I would have cut him like a blade. Please.
Yeah, real talk. But as we move along, let me take the next caller. And thank you, Ms. Shirley. 302. That's who I'm speaking to. Yes. The sons of matriarch. This is Shirley Husar, her son. Okay. Shirley Husar is on the line.
I'm here. Who are you?
Yeah, she's on. Much love, much respect.
Thank you.
Queen Barbara. And as the son of the matriarch, it's forbidden over here to say that word, but I know you will help everyone remember. And before I say that, I love Reign, Nala, Mandela. Yes. For the sake of time, I have a guest here tonight. Let me speak, sir. Let me speak. The same time, because this is a serious woman. If you have no question, you can have a comment, but please keep under 2 minutes. I'm gonna let you go now. Okay, if you want to talk about a solution, you will let me engage with the high priestess tonight, like you did Jay of NYC, the Joker. He's a Democrat, right? I'm neither. I'm a revolutionary.
Okay.
I want to engage with Queen Mother, Shirley Husar, right?
Yes.
Illegal aliens, European invaders, that's the genesis, and that's the reason why we all fucked up. I'm going fast forward to the revolutionary revelation of the matriarch. The only immigrants that does not have no rights and authority in the Americas are white people. North, South, Central America. You remember, California is Khalifa. That's Aslan. West of Chicago, east of Chicago is Turtle Island. And before the illegal alien European invader who trespassed on the holy lands of the Americas, they fucked up. But it's us who's in trouble because we've got to recognize one thing only, that the commodities, that the Queen Mother just spoke of commodities, it's all over from the Congo to the Bongo, and they are not in Europe. The number 2 commodity is the mother. The mother is the number 2 commodity on the planet Earth. My question to the Queen Mother, Shirley Husar, as we help each other remember what we got to do right now. How could it be that our blood, sweat, and tears equity, no 40 acres in the middle, no reparations? How could it be that the gold, the diamond, the silver, the plutonium, the bauxite, the coltan, the chocolate, the all of the precious commodities of Mother Africa, none of us as a people are in control of that. That is the only contradiction that we got to iron out. And the reason being is because we're the same people we were when they passed on our Holy Land. They took control. And now we are out of control. Now fast forward to this revelation. Don't y'all see what the Bible told the Quran? People was like more supposed to be Christians. The Roman Catholic Church and the Queen and King of England gave us religion and took the deity of Mother Creator, Mother Goddess, the universe, Mother Africa. What they call it, Mother Nature. It's not nice to fool with Mother Nature. Why is this lady first? But yet, if we look at a deity, we keep talking about this terrible motherfucker named God. God is a terrible motherfucker because he does not accept. All right, thank you, Mr. That does kind. I'm gonna open the next line because
No, I'm going to answer. Can I go ahead? I'll answer his question. First of all, I thank him for calling in, and I appreciate. I know you don't want him cursing and everything, so I know he's not on the line, but I'm just going to answer some of the things that he said. Let me make this clear. There's no profit in the cure, and I told you we were brought here as commodity, and I need to instill that is what us as humans are. Commodity are trades of goods and service, things that have value, things that you can exchange for to get something greater than out of it. And because of that, we were still used in the legal sense of that. So the injustice that was placed upon us through slavery, slowly the rights were being empowered. We were able to, as you know, we couldn't sit in the front of the bus. We were in the back of the bus. We couldn't integrate and marry other cultures. We couldn't work in the front. We had to work in the back. All these things, as you all know, okay? And then all of a sudden we could drink from their water. We couldn't drink from their water, okay? Then the ACLU worked with the NAACP when Thurgood Marshall, who was an attorney, and you can look up his new movie, the guy who played Black Panther played him. It didn't really show you the depths of Thurgood Marshall. Thank you. But Thurgood Marshall and Dr. King did not get along because Thurgood Marshall said, first of all, he's young and he's ambitious and he's really motivating, but he doesn't understand law and legislation. Thurgood Marshall was an attorney who became a Supreme Court judge, going back to commodity of trades and services. So the ACLU recognized that the problems in America was the mistreating of the poverty and the poor, who were Black people at that time. So they had millions and thousands of cases against the federal government and local and state political levels, right? And they were suing left and right, and we were winning cases which gained us rights. We don't pay attention, listen, to the profits that the ACLU made off of us, okay? Keep in mind, they needed a product, Black people, to make profit off of a problem. What is the problem? The injustice for Black people. Who are the people that need help? Black people. Who can help us? We are. Who's going to pay us? The federal government if we win. So they won all this money over decades. Then we became pretty much, we thought we were the same as white America because we're free. We're free, right? But guess what? They don't get no more money. So what do we need to do? You know what we're going to do? I'm going to help you out. We're going to bring in more poor people than the poor Black people we help. Because if we bring them in, we can start fighting for their rights and we can milk the tax dollar of the government to keep this perpetual chaos going. No, excuse me. Is anybody hearing what I'm trying to tell you? Are you listening when I'm trying to put some nuggets in your ear so that you can listen and don't get all caught up in this bullshit that's out there regarding Black and white? Understand that they're playing a political game and their best interest and not yours. But I'm telling you, do not lose your golden nuggets, which is the civil rights. Do not take away from the slaves that died in this country and bred their lives and broke their bones. And then all these other people come in and talking about their culture. The children of the indigenous slave tribes have the same rights as many things as the Indians are getting, and we're not getting that either. Why? Because we were used as commodity by the ACLU and the CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus, that has us dreaming. We still dream and demand. You go before power, you do not demand. You put something on the table when you go before power. You're at work and you want to get a raise. You go to your boss and say, I'm one of the best workers here. I clean, scrub, and kiss ass all day. When am I going to get my raise? You're going to have to put something in the table in your life to move forward. Instead of keep saying, give me this, give me that. You have to put something in your life to move forward. Now, to answer the last part of this question regarding the wealth and the diamonds and the Africans, we need to come together. You remember Africans sold Africans to America. Africans sold Africans to America. The Queen of England has what they call the Commonwealth. Y'all need to look up the Commonwealth. And in the stages of the Commonwealth are different countries, India, Canada, and African nations fall to the sword of the Queen. And she has access to their diamonds and golds. The Chinese have access to our diamonds and golds in Africa. It's almost like the movie Wakanda. Why have these Africans who have commodities of trade of diamonds and assets to come help Black Americans? You need to ask them that question. You need to ask them, why y'all giving all them other countries when you have your cousins next door that you threw out on the street in America, and then when you come here, you snoot your nose up at us as if you're better. And we got to accept you. We got to love you. And then you don't want to talk the King's English the way we do. We've got to understand. And I'm not trying to put down my African brother. I'm just telling you the real of the street when you ain't around, my brother. When you ain't out there and you think everybody's smelling and they act like they like you, they do not know you. We have no relationship with people in Africa. And why do we not have that? Because you're the ones that have the commodity and trade. We've become slaves to the governmental program systems. And you mock us. And I just gave you a history of how the government came in and divided us. So fast forward, how do we change all that? You have to acknowledge that first, get out of this whole white man, black man, cooning and booning bullshit and start thinking about money. Start studying Kiyosaki's good book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Study Gina Laughlin, who's African-American, who's a multi-million. She has a book called The Rat Race, and it's free on Amazon. Negroes, you can read a book about how to become a wealthy person for free on Amazon. And the best thing that you can do that's like basics is go to richdad.com and play the board game. Play the board game, because that board game will take you to a whole nother level of understanding as you live the rat race, paying the bills, taking care of the kids, buying kids clothes. All of a sudden you want some new shoes. Your check was short. They messed you up at work. It teaches you to start thinking, how can I buy a property? How can I invest in a little gold? Maybe I should buy some stocks. Maybe I should look at some artworks. Maybe I should learn about art and commodity as the trades and goods and services. There was two little white couples they had on YouTube, and I'll probably talk about this on one of my shows. They were average, everyday people, and they retired, but what they did was they invested in the art on their wall, which was worth 100-fold of what their income had acquired in 30 years. You need to look outside the box and don't get caught in the madness and demand what is right for yourself by yourself. And then when you go before power, bring something to the table. What's your next question?
Okay. All right. We have 47 minutes left on the show. You can call in now, 515-605-9783. I repeat, 515-605-9783. My guest tonight is Ms. Shirley Husar. Topic tonight is less history lessons, what we need now. All ones, who's this?
Sarge here. Thank you very much, Ms. Husar. Sarge. Both passive and compelling. Sarge. I appreciate what you're saying.
Sarge, are you listening to me?
Yes.
Stay right there, please. 847. May I ask who I'm speaking to?
It's Terrence. What up?
It's Terrence?
T-A-Z. Terrence.
Oh, Terrence. Okay, how you doing?
I had to put you on timeout. You can watch the show.
Okay, and we'll go more like 302. May I ask who I'm speaking to?
Taz, Ren, and Nala. And brother, Sister Husar, you said we don't have.
Okay, you sit back. All right, Sarge, what do you have for my guest tonight? Questions, comments?
Yeah, as I said, she's both passionate and compelling, and I really appreciate the commentary. But if you don't mind, ma'am, I would like to expand upon what you said about illegal immigration.
Being my guest, go ahead.
Thank you. There was a report, or rather a series of reports, from the Government Accountability Office. And they found that criminal aliens, that's both illegal and legal aliens, make up 27% of all federal prisoners. But according to the best estimates from any number of agencies and study groups, non-citizens make up about 9% of the nation's adult population. So if you look at the numbers in federal prisons alone, non-citizens commit federal crimes at 300% more than citizens. And another report found that the criminal histories of 55,000 aliens that entered the country illegally and were still illegally in the country at the time of their incarceration had been arrested 459,614 times, an average of 8.3 arrests for illegal aliens, and committed almost 700,000 criminal offenses, an average of roughly 12.7 offenses per illegal alien. And these offenses were for violent crimes, murder, robbery, assault, sex-related crimes. 15% were burglary, larceny, theft, and property damage. 24% were drug offenses, and the remaining were from DUI, fraud, forgery, counterfeiting, weapons, immigration, obstruction of justice. But there was more. They went on and looked at 251,000 criminal aliens in federal, state, and local prisons and jails. These aliens were arrested nearly 1.7 million times for close to 3 million criminal offenses. 68% of those in federal prison and 66% of those in state prisons were from Mexico. Their offenses range from homicide, kidnapping, drugs, burglary, and larceny. And once again, it's hard to find out what percentage of illegals at the state and local level are committing crime because they're protecting them. They have these sanctuary state policies in effect. They obscure the figures so you can't find out what the truth is. And it's getting worse by the day with these policies run by these Democrats. And I'm trying to explain to people that it is black people in black communities who are being disproportionately affected by illegal alien crime from Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, and elsewhere. And if you look at what they're doing, MS-13 is doing, with torturing black people in the northeast part of the United States and in California. My God, I don't know what it's going to take to wake up some of these people, but it seems to me like they're in some sort of walking somnambulance, and they can't seem to wake up.
Okay, so sir, I think you.
I got you, sir. And one thing, Mr. Husar, when he talks, okay, so I never said exactly what it's not. You want to say something.
Okay, so what is your question? I just want to know, what is this question? I thank you for the statistics and the data. So what is your question?
Okay, all right.
So he has no question, so let's move on.
Shirley, I didn't say anything to deserve that sort of thing. I don't know why you did. I guess you just had to. Sorry. I was trying to say something and you like to go on wrong things. That's why I was trying to get your attention. So I had to I will need you, sir. Please. But like I said, that was good as statistics, and we like that. But nothing else you have to say? No questions? Yeah, I do have a question.
Okay, what's your question?
Mr. Zahar, there's one thing I've noticed, that a commonality of almost all of these problems that are in the black community. And it is the one common theme that almost everyone seems to overlook, but really is almost impossible to ignore. In every one of these cases, when we are complaining about these chronic problems in the black community, they occur in areas that are largely and exclusively governed by Democrats, and they've been governed that way for decades. Decades. And the loyalty of the black electors and these people they elect that keep doing these depredations against them is repeated over and over. It's like literally they're on a plantation and they keep voting for the same style of governance. I'd just like you to comment about this, because it seems to be a universal
characteristics and endemic to the problems in the Black community.
Okay, so your
Ms.
question.
Husar?
Yes, I'm here.
Ms. Husar?
Yes.
Comment. One more mic. I want to use this one. 626. Ask your 626. Yeah, sure. All right, sit back, please. All right, go ahead, Mr. Husar. Answer the question.
So when we talk about local people vote on, let's forget about black and white. People vote on name recognition and a disruption of their environment. If there's nothing disrupting their environment, sometimes we have such a low voter turnout nationwide, it's unbelievable. For example, in Maxine Waters' districts in the primary, she received 55,000 votes out of 500,000 people in her district. And so when people think people love Maxine Waters in California, absolutely they don't. But the percentage that do have the majority of votes that come to the table. And that's how these people are voting. The millennials and people like me and you who are out here are trying to inform people. First, we have to be registered to vote. But you got black people saying, I'm not black, I'm not American, I'm not going to do what the white man wants me to do. And then they go into all these antics. And I say to them, you have disrupted your own life by giving your power to whoever votes these fools in office. We need term limits to answer his question. We also need to have more registered black people, period, who you can spread about the righteous things that need to be done in your community. Why is it in black communities, the streets are filthy? We don't have trash cans. We do not have police surveying up and down the streets as far as protection. They come and they're stalking us, but we don't have police relationships where they're just like in Pasadena, they have police officers who are carrying weapons, but they're just there so that the people know if something happened, they can call the sheriff or the LAPD or the Pasadena Police Department. See, I believe that there's infrastructural protections that are broken because of our lack of engagement. And if we can fix those engagements, we can make a better America for blacks.
Okay. Oh, wonderful. I'm sorry. I'm used to, but let me see what Taz has something to say. Hello, Taz. You there?
Yeah, what up?
What up, brother? Any questions, comments from my guest tonight?
Yeah, I was gonna tell her, man. I like the info she's throwing out, man. I respectfully, most definitely agree. I think we as black people, man, we just too inclusive and like Lebanese illegals and down there fighting for their babies at the border and all that silly shit. But what I haven't heard that much of was anything about like the previous administration or even the one before that. I kind of wanted to ask, what was it that pushed you towards the right? What was it that pushed you towards the Republican Party?
When I grew up as a child, I grew up at Crenshaw Christian Center. And so it was during the time, now I'm dating myself and how old I really am. It was during the time of the Carter administration. And it was hard. We couldn't get gas unless you had the last number on your gas plate, could be even and odd. If you watch some of the YouTube videos of Carter, you'll see he wasn't a motivator. He constantly talked as if America was on its last leg and hopeless. So, and he also came from Georgia and he knew pure poverty. So that's what he was. He was a pure poverty kind of a president. And he had a sweetheart because he loved the people, but there are failures because he didn't understand how to utilize power. That's why I'm trying to say it's important that we step up to the plate and not be out partying and drinking like that earlier Negro, and make some sacrifices in our life to empower our future. Make some sacrifices instead of having all these hoes and guys and people trying to drag you to their level, and start working on your own level. But needless to say, my pastor, Fred Price, had a book he passed out called The Christian Coalition. And at that time, they don't do this anymore. The book was in the columns. It was like in the columns. And it said, this is what this candidate stands for, and this is what this candidate stands for. We're not telling you how to vote, he said, but I want you to tell me which one do you like, and that's how you vote. So I read what Reagan had offered at that time and what he had planned on doing and what he said what would be great for our country at that time. And so I voted for Ronald Reagan. There were policies that were great. There were other that was divisive and destructive for Black communities that we learned later on with immigration and the expansion of the chain migration. But I basically became a Republican because I don't believe in governmental programs. I don't believe in all this rhetoric of what these Black Democrats and Black politicians are doing to Black people and talking about inclusiveness, talking about we must unite with these people and help these people. On my YouTube channel, listen, on my YouTube channel, I need you to subscribe and follow me and make donations to Urban Game Changers. We went out and we taped on the streets Black people in cages, Black people caged off at the homeless shelter, sleeping on the floor, Black people who can't get housing. I interviewed this 67-year-old Black lady who supports illegal immigrants and she's homeless. And I kept saying in the video, you realize this woman's talking to me from a tent, from her cell phone saying, well, they need help and we really need to help them. But you are an American. These people come here. They don't want to assimilate. They don't want to associate. They don't want to speak the King's language. They don't want to do anything but look at you as a lesser species of a person and will call the police on you. And the police in our inner cities, including the Blacks that are going to have a congressional Black meeting on September, and they're telling Black people that we still got to keep dreaming. That is not about execution of trades and goods. That's a democratic mindset. Be dependent on programs and keep your ass dreaming and get to marching, you niggas. Keep on marching. March, march, march. What the fuck you marching to, nigga? Where you marching to? You need to march no more. You can use your cell phone. What the hell are you marching to? But see, a confused mind is not a prophet mind. A confused mind can't move through their circumstances to grow from those circumstances. Instead, keep them confused so that we and our children, that's these Black Democrats, can still use them off of their pain. You remember I told you urban game changers are growing nationally. And we talk about pain and solutions. But the Democrats operate off of pain. The Republicans have failed us as well in communicating it. They're getting better, but we have to do better and understand the power of legislation and lobbies and the rights that have been created that other people are leveraging off the backs of the indigenous slave children.
All right. Ted, I'm gonna move on to Joshua because the line is up. Anything else? No, that's it. Thanks, bro.
Thank you for calling in. I appreciate that.
All right. Joshua, what's on your mind, brother? Question, comment? Joshua? There? I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. My phone was on mute. I'm sorry. No, I have two questions for just for the phone. First question is that we see have any information on the actual slave traders who sold us. That's number one. The second thing is I want to ask her, does she believe that we should have our own party, meaning that we should start our own party to hold politicians accountable? I'm saying this because from my thinking and from what I see, I think both parties have failed us, just like our leaders have failed us. So I'm saying that within that, does she feel that we should have sort of our own party to put pressure on politicians who come to us and promise us things on stage they're going to do this for us? The third thing is this. I want to know is, in fact, how do we hold the government of America responsible for the disenfranchisement that we are in? Okay, how do we do that? How do we go about holding the government, in fact, responsible to that? I think people always take Black people because yes, we have to fix our own problem, but I do define more short. I think the American government has to help fix our problem because they know the problem that we're in.
sleep on the canal. I got too much going back to Africa. So as far as that was concerned, so right here in America, we were in fact disenfranchised on purpose. Now we didn't wake up like this. We didn't wake up. No, we didn't wake up. That was one of the things for us, etc. This was happening. This was done on purpose. So those three things, if you can answer those three things for me, just.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I appreciate that. Say that first one again for me, please.
The first one is that do you have any concrete information on slave traders? I kind of hate to use the word slave trade, but for those slave holders who helped to gather us up and participate in the slave trade. Yeah. Right.
Okay. So we're talking about 400 years ago, and all this is documented. So if you want to look it up, you can do that. But where we're at right now is in a country that came out of England, who created the Constitution that was not really written for blacks, because I told you we were a product. We were something that you trade, borrowed, or exchanged for, is what we were brought here for. And we were brought to build them in a powerful way through cotton, through other trades of gold and silver, and buildings and structures and design. That's why a lot of the designs, if you start studying all the inventors in America, were black people. So to have the importance of knowing what Africans traded us and where that might go, I think we're going down a dark hole. For me, when it comes to where we are in America today, I believe that you have to look at, there are minority issues, priority issues, and minor issues. And the minor issues, or the smaller issues, will always be there. Differences of abortion, differences of whose rights over others. But I think that we as Black people have to leverage the asset that this country granted us through the 13th, 14th, and the 15th Amendment. So that's why I reverted back to that movie, The Lincoln, that you watch that movie, or at least go and study those amendments, because those amendments made it very clear. That's why there may be a turnover later in the future under this administration at the Supreme Court Justice for the gays, because they use that as their leverage to say we want our own rights and all that other stuff. So that answers the other question of, you say, well, we should start our own party. It takes money to play the game of divisiveness of power. Let me say that again. It takes money to play the game of divisiveness of power. And I say divisiveness because, as you can see, in Washington, it's very divided on every caliber of the game, including the Black Republicans who are there with all the Jesus stuff. Instead of saying, Mr. Trump, we would like you to look at the amendment of the 14th, the 15th, and the 13th Amendment, and we want things in this law that you don't have to recreate, this addendum that has already gone through Congress, to be enforced. You ain't got to recreate it. You just got to enforce it. So why would I walk away from my right that my great-great-great-grandfather went through, and the hell and the anguish that those people went through, so that I can start all from scratch again? I'm not doing that. I'm going to stand my ground, and I'm going to get louder, and I'm hoping I can build a tribe behind me that will fight and get loud like me too, and ask and request based on the asset of a legislation that they agreed to put in to give me my right. But if we don't ask for it, it's like a child with a mother saying, you want some ice cream? But the child knows it's in the freezer. The child knows it's on the left-hand side and it's chocolate. The mother knows the child needs the chocolate, but won't give it to him because the mother likes to eat off the chocolate too and give it to everybody else in the country. But instead of the child saying, mother, that chocolate ice cream is mine because you told me if I clean my room, if I wash my walls, if I go to school on time, I would get some ice cream. But the child never demanded its rights. So it never got the ice cream. And then later on, it said, why did you never ask me, give me the ice cream? Just because you never asked. So if we don't ask, we don't get. So why would I, who has been empowered as a child of the indigenous slave tribe, a child that is not an immigrant or an illegal immigrant, but one that has the blood of death and life within me, leave where I came from, abandon my hope and my inherited right to this country to start with a bunch of group of Negroes who's going out partying tonight, beating some hoes back in the bed. No, I'm staying right here.
Can I say this? Can I say this too?
Yeah.
And I agree with you because I've always said, one of the reasons why our agendas never get pushed is because we lack financial empowerment. Because I've always felt like this now. Politicians don't help poor folks. They don't help poor people at all. They help people that got money. And I say that. And and I say this too, that we're subjects. They have made us their subjects. So we're like the examples of what America is doing to people who are disenfranchised. That's what I believe. So thank you. And I've always said that this money thing, this empowerment thing, I always said black people, look, they don't find us our agendas as taken seriously because we don't have the financial empowerment. Now, my thinking is way out there at times, okay? And I don't always show up to the point because it's kind of out there. But at the same time, I think while we're here in America, I think we try to, in fact, figure a way out to empower us from an economic standpoint. So, in fact, so we can, in fact, can get them to say, okay, well, they have to make economic empowerment. We have to take them seriously. But right now, they don't take us seriously.
Okay, so hold your thought. They don't take it seriously because we have our own infrastructural issues. And what is that? We don't have lobbies on the table. We don't have lobbyists. I think that someone has said on another show that there's only a black female lobbyist. And, you know, I told you there's a rise of black lesbian women who like to eat pussy then suck dick. So there you go. So we don't have us uniting as a black family. Hold on. Let me answer your question. We are divided sexually. Black men are emasculated and they're incarcerated. And then when they get out, the community has changed dramatically. And then all of a sudden he gets put back in because he gets falled into the clubs of the MS-13s and all the gang members that are there. And he said, what you talking about? This is our turf. We used to be Bloods. We used to be Crips. Dog, you don't have the same power you used to. And then he's trying to find his crew. Half his crew's in jail. And he's hearing all kind of mixed messages. And then while he's playing mixed message game, she's trying to raise the baby and pray that the government don't take her check because he's back in the house. See, we got all these other things going on versus understanding we first have to hold ourselves accountable. We first, if I were to ask you, let me ask you a question. Where are you from?
Delaware.
You from Delaware? You from Delaware? Yeah, okay. Let me ask you, who's your senator? Who's your senator?
You know what?
Okay, stop right. So you don't know. Let me ask you this. Who's your governor? Who's your governor?
The governor will be, I forgot his name.
Okay, so who's your assemblyman?
I don't know.
Okay, who's your let me ask you another question. I don't mean to cut you off, but we got to call this backed up. Okay, so you do not know. So you do not know. Okay, so here we are in 2018, where people could easily take a day and write all these people down. My senator, my congressman, my governor, my assemblyman, the people on the water board, the water school board, the people who collect my trash, have all these people's names down, have all their office phone numbers, and have all your issues that you could be calling and making hell for them. But instead, you don't even know who they are. You don't even know who they are. Now, I'm not criticizing you because most people don't, including white people. So most people don't take the responsibility to understand who's governing their lives, who's making sure those lights are on and off, who's allowing, for example, in California, we have an issue of hepatitis A. of sanitation. We have people squatting in the streets of San Francisco, shitting in the streets because we can't have plastic bags or any type of bags when you get your groceries. You have to pay for it. But if you're on Wix or EBT, they give you the bags for free. But if you're a working American person in California, they won't even give you bag when you take meat and get blood and chicken meat on your hands, which is unsanitated, and they let you do that. And San Francisco, they've got hypodermic needles in the street. And you would think American people would contact their legislators and say, this is not right. And I'm upset and I'm appalled. If I were to ask you, and I'm not going to, and the answer is going to probably be no, how many city council meetings have you ever gone to this month or in your lifetime? See, most of us are not engaging. We don't go to city council meetings. We don't know who these people are on from a powerful level, a local level, but all we want to say is fuck Trump and impeach him. How is that going to move us forward as Black Americans? Somebody tell me that. Somebody tell me that.
Right. Can I say something else?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. That's right. That's right.
Do I really think that politics is going to do what?
I said, do you think that politicians, the citizens, etc., mayors, etc., you really think that they want change in the Black people?
I think the position of Black people can be very engaging and changing if we first start talking like we're doing right now. If we first start educating ourselves in our position of the chessboard game. If I were to sit across from you and you've never played chess, what you don't know is not like checkers or any other game you've ever played in your life, because each piece does something different. The pawns are there to basically block, but eventually they are killed out. And the power progressively gets powerful as it gets further back. And you got the king, the queen, the knight, the bishop have more power than the pawns. We are nothing but pawns because we don't want to move up, meaning moving back into the power level. So absolutely, if we can start conversating what we're doing. I created Urban Game Changers because we're going to start having more meetings in the urban communities with Black-owned businesses and other businesses. And I want you all to start talking about your pain for you can find a solution so that you can hold your elected officials accountable. Look, this country and the way it is governed and the way it is structured and the protection of its people is that the people vote leaders to represent them. But if those leaders who the people voted for don't represent them, they're not fucking celebrities. Stop kissing their ass. Stop greeting them as they're the next kings and queens in the world and tell them, you are failing me. My community's hurting. Our water's too high. Our gas is too high. You just raised our gas tax. Where is this money going that I put into? Most of people don't know. They don't care as long as their lights come on and they're able to go to the store and they're able to get their 40 in. It's Sunday night, it's Sunday, and they can go get the thug groove on. See, we have no priorities. We have no priorities that are going to empower us in the White House or in the governing states of the three levels of government, local, state, and federal, until we have more people understand their power. And that's any ethnic group, not just Black. That's just people in general. So yes, I do believe that based on one taking the time and the group, there may be only few of us, but I believe that we are trying to make change for the fool who knows no better.
All right. Joshua, just sit back. Let me open the other line. ABC, you there? Yeah, I'm here. Stay right there, ABC. Let me open the other line. 847, man. Ask what I'm speaking to. Oh, this is calling back, bro. My line, bro. All right, sit back. All right, ABC, what you got for me tonight?
Just a couple of questions for the guest. And sister, I'm with what you talk about. I don't go for the politics, the partisanship and all that stuff. And I do think that our people have pretty much given ourselves over to the Democratic Party. But having said that, my question to you would be, do you think that the people Robert Barons are powerful people who, built, who owned this country from the beginning, and banks and trains and, corporations and all this kind of stuff, and generations, and they passed down their families. Do you think that the same people, the power structure that existed back when, is still running the country now?
To some extent, yes. And let me tell you why. Because a lot of those people back then, their families built this country. Go on YouTube and look up a show called The Men Who Built America. And you will learn about the Vanderbilts. You'll learn about the Rockefellers. And you will learn about you'll learn about J.P. Morgan. And J.P. Morgan still exists today. And Carnegie as well. All those men are the men who built America. Okay. And what you'll learn is that there were a lot of inventions and trades and goods that expanded faster and further than any other country because of these men. So they structured an underlying table, which I don't think is known to the public. This is what I agree. This is now we're going to hypothetics and theories. This is just my theory. So it's a theory, which means it could not be real, people. I'm just letting you know, because people talk theories like, you hear about Alex Jones and he has all these theories. So this is my theory on the takes of men of power. That, look, we built this country, but we want you to realize that our children and our children's children will still have those same rights and empowerment. So if you were to just take time and have fun and Google presidents and then Google their children and then their children's children, and the children today have almost immense wealth as their parents did back in that day. So in saying all of that, yes, I do believe there are people who are empowered, and they oversee these other people who are running this country in the ground, and they'll let them get to a certain extent, because there's always going to be the pure capitalists and the rest of us. There are people who are pure capitalists and the rest of us.
All right. So along those lines, I believe that too. I think it's even deeper than that. I think that, it ain't like they only have their families and they all keep it there. They employ people and they leverage their wealth to get more wealth and to have more power. So we agree on that. Having said that, those people, if we go back in history, those people are the ones who either enslaved us or helped build the system and the structure that oppressed us and has held us back and held us down and didn't give us our fair due and all that kind of stuff. So why would anybody think that those people who have that kind of power now would allow for us to have a fair shot and opportunity now?
Because those people realize as we progress in time that they're not multiplying. White people don't have babies. White people don't have babies. We have mimicked, we are mimicking them because we don't have babies. I told you my father was an old man when he had me. He was almost like 50. Okay, that's when people said, God, why was your father so old? He was born in 1920. He was a child of 12 children. 12 children. His father was a child of 10 children. So why did they have so many children? Because they had farms to work on. They were allotted so much land, and the more children they bred to work the land, the more profit for the family. So see, we used our children as commodity, and we do it today. Boy, you better get me some water over there. Why can't you get up? Okay, you're going to see Jesus right now. You better get me that water. That boy gets that water because he realized that he has to respect who you are as empowered. So white people don't have children. White people sleep with their own of the same sex. White people want you to sleep with them because you're packing pretty good. And they want you. That white man is stalking our young black men and saying you need to be gay. They're stalking us so that we can be on the demise of going on the down of cultures that have grown in this country. So to answer your question, because white people are of a lesser number, but they're still empowered with numbers. And this is what they don't know about. Now, again, I'm going to go into a hypothetical theory. A theory means that it may not be real. This is just Shirley 101. Okay. This is the dragon, the two-headed dragon. It's a white two-headed dragon. One dragon goes to school and he's your friend. The other dragon is waiting to seize an opportunity that you have for their best interests. That is what I constantly see in America, the two-headed white dragon. And we, on one hand, are mad at the dragon that we know has demised us and taken advantage of us. But the other dragon is saying, okay, tell me what you bring to the table. We can talk. We don't do that. We're too stuck on the other head of the damn dragon. And I already told you the dragon is not multiplying. So the dragon realized the only ally that can take him back or empower him is the creature that he mimicked of himself called the black man. The black man who does everything like the white man, thinking he's white, but he's not white. But in the end, the illegals and the immigrants don't even think of themselves as Americans. Why? Because they have a homeland that they send their money back as they make it here. Instead of building a life here, they build a mindset of wealth to send back to Mexico and El Salvador and all their other fucking countries they come from. In the meantime, we're sitting here like chickens with no head trying to figure out all the game and the chess play that we're getting upon ourselves.
Hey, I like what you said, sister, and I'm gonna get off. It's my last comment, Gary. And I can hear what you're saying, but you said the dragon with two heads, and basically one was the good head and the other one was the bad head.
No, I don't know if that. I wouldn't say either was good or bad. It's opportunist. See, it's about leveraging the power of what that dragon can do. Everybody looks at things in good and evil. I'm trying to get that out of your head. Forget good and evil. Think about leveraging and assets and commodity. If you can understand, if you study those three words tonight, leveraging assets and commodity, and then you come back and you talk to me, and I'm going to talk to you in that form, not good and evil, or they've done us wrong, we keep dying on the street. We already know that. So that's why we're not talking about that. But they're leveraging the power of these people against us, and that's where we're failing.
I appreciate that, but you talked about the chessboard. I think that they're leveraging the power of those people against us, and that's part of the game. I think those same people that enslaved us and oppressed us plan on keeping that in place. There ain't no way they're going to let us get real power. And part of this bringing in illegal is leveraging that power against us, playing us off each other to divide and conquer and all that kind of stuff. And what's that? Somebody said power concedes nothing without a demand. And the demand being you're going to have to take that shit, and they ain't giving it up. So it's just about manipulating the game, playing chess. So, hey, thank you, Gary. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate everything that you're saying, sir. Thank you so much. Please go join urbangamechangers.com. We need more Black Alpha brothers like yourself who get the game so we can elevate our people, because we need male leaders. We got too many of Hollywood promoting metrosexual, bisexual, transgender, dick-sucking white men, black men out there. We sick of that. And then the black woman, she always mad. She's always mad. We don't need no more of that persona. I'm from California, and I'm telling you, they're predators after our black youth. And I keep it raw and real, and some people think, oh, you shouldn't talk that way. I'm just wanting you to know the pain as a black woman, how I feel when I see a beautiful young man walking, holding hands with a young white pervert. And now they want to take on pedophilia, and nobody's screaming over that. Oh, freaks.
I've been hearing that now for some time, for months, for the past year. And I see it coming because they removed homosexuality out the books now 45 years ago. So, and really, so all of this is a divine rule and plan to slowly make us experiment ourselves. Because if the dragon is losing his numbers, what's next summer is to build his numbers up. So what he needs? He needs melanin, blood, and a womb to come back from, because he already knows by how our people operate that we want to be so like him that we will go far as to erase our genetics by breeding with him or engage in homosexual activity just to please him so that we could have, be completely like him.
I will say this much, and I agree with you, but I will say this, what I think they didn't anticipate. When Reagan in the 80s created the chain migration and he altered these laws of migrating in here, these people didn't assimilate the way they wanted them to. They wanted them to work as cheap labor and build America. What they didn't anticipate is these people leveraging the infrastructure of America and sending it back to their country. What they, didn't anticipate is those people like people from China who had assets to their family of direct sources. Like I told this story before, I'm gonna tell it to you again. When my aunt and my mother sold clothes when I was a little girl, and my aunt would have a dress shop, and she was like, wow, this is really great. I'm making money. And then the Chinese people came in. The Chinese man came in, and the Chinese man said, oh, this is a nice dress. I like it. Can I buy it? I said, yeah. I see you move down the street. Yes, we move in. Okay, great. The Chinese person mails it back to China, and they duplicate it on a direct path, meaning that there's no wholesale. It's direct sale, which means the cost factor is way less than wholesale. Black people only had access to wholesale in America. We didn't have access to international people. We weren't even working with Africans. We've been here 400 years, and the African nations and countries have never really charged on trying to build a relationship. Very small Africans who are good Africans out there had said, we want to do something with the American Africans. But in most cases, in my relationship in America and California, they act as they're better. They come here as an exchange foreign student, not as a Black American. All those people were foreigners. They call it a foreign exchange student. So now when people come to my aunt's store, they say, girl, Lady Lee down the street, she got the same blouse. She said, oh no, girl, I just got these last week. She said, no, Lady Lee got the same blouse and it's half of your price. Well, how can that be? I only upped it by, I'm only gonna make maybe $5 to $10 off of this. How did Lady Lee get that? How did Lady Lee get that? I'm gonna tell you how Lady Lee got that. She copied what you had from down south, and she learned your culture. She learned your people's taste and mannerism. Fast forward 2018, we got Black people saying that they got Chinese Black soul food restaurants in the urban community. We got Mexican soul food restaurants in the urban communities. In LA, they got Mexican soul food. In Washington, D.C., and I've been in them, they have Chinese soul food. Because see, the leveraging opportunities of governmental contracts and monies that these people didn't build here, they built in their own country. They chain migrated their people here, and they make us eat their food and put their head on our head. Now, when we gonna wake up? When we gonna wake up? Somebody give me a...
One thing I want to ask you, before I ask you, you got 3 minutes left for the overtime. If they want to call in to listen to the after hour or the overtime show, call in right now. The number to call in is 515-605-9783. I repeat, 515-605-9783. The Southern American Tonight Show is less history lessons, what we need to do now.
Okay.
Shirley, have you watched the video in regards to the Chinese restaurant experiment when they bring in their families after they got a foothold to have a restaurant here in America? There was something on Facebook that talked about this.
I watched the videos of how they became Americans through fake documents called the Sun Paper. And so I had studied that. Listen, there's some good Chinese people who understand our anguish and our pain. So we're not here to attack Chinese. So let me make that clear. I've got some great friends who are Chinese, and they've been cordial. They've been kind. So you know, we're just trying to identify. Let's make this clear when we talk about Puerto Ricans or Mexicans or Salvadoran. We're trying to design an understanding of these lines, because there's all this confusion in our head. There's like this NLP going on, which is neurological programming. So write this down. Neurological programming and kinetics that are implanted into our minds of how we think. Sometimes we're more visual, more physical. But when it comes to understanding the relationship of one culture versus another, America has situated us, mostly the Democrats, that we have to be inclusive, and we have to say in our dialect, well, you know, the Black and the brown people and the Blacks and the Chinese and the Black and I'm as guilty of that as the Democrats. I have previous videos where I would say that. But over the years of living and doing this fight that you see me in and bringing us together and trying to get more people on board with urbangamechangers.com. Please go there, join, sign up. We are engaged in the urban community. We're grassroots people because it's got to have a clarity. We're embarking upon the 400th anniversary, 1619 of Blacks landing in this country as a commodity trade. So are we going to take the year of 2019 and not use that tool, use that commodity to start saying, Mr. Trump, now that I've got your attention, these are the things that our people are dealing with. And we need either laws enforced or we have written up with our attorneys and our lobbyists legislation to work in our best interest. Can you help us in the eve of our 400th anniversary?
Exactly. And if they do, people really acting out before he runs for re-election, because that's what he's preparing for, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Trying to get accused.
Well, look, Black people are up to 30%. He's up to 30% of African Americans. Even the people who don't, Blacks who didn't vote for him, are realizing his disruption to current government affairs are working in our best interests. The RAISE Act, which reverts the chain migration, is on the table. That building of the wall forces them more out of our urban communities. The lawsuits against the states and the local legislators in the cities that he proposed upon California are having them look in a different manner, that the private citizens in California, for example, are meeting at these city council meetings, and different cities are opting out of being a sanctuary city. See, we do have power as constituents and Americans in this country. But as Black people, it's deeper because we know there's triggered racism. We know that people have embedded racism in them. So we have to go back and say, there's those Jim Crow laws. There's many laws that are out there. We need to have a team of committee of people that said, we're not trying to reinvent this wheel. Mr. Trump, the wheel has been there. We want you to enforce existing laws that have been very clear for us, not for them. Unless it's not stated that from its origin and there was no addendums added to the core of the cost of the contract, therefore we want you to revert anything that they think they have and give it to us. Their asses would be pissed. The Democrats would be pissed. And the Blacks who kiss their ass and sucks their dicks will be pissed. But we, on the other hand, will change history.
I guess you. All right, I open it with Mike. 413, man, 452. Yep, Brother G. Enjoying the speaker. All of her high energy to what she's offering. But every blue moon, you need to have the devil come into the house so she can go ahead and sharpen her sword a little better. So, sister, here's my question. When it came to Jim Crow laws, were those Republican or were those Democrat? Also, when it came to the right for women to gain the right for voting in the 19th Amendment, was that the push? And they used Susan B. Anthony as the forefront, in which she came from a Democratic Party, but that's okay. She died before they got the right to vote. So was that a Democratic or was that a Republican? If I can recall, the Republican was trying to stop the going forth of the women. And number two, when it came to redlining, was that the Democratic, aka the caucus of in Massachusetts, 1976, from creating opportunity for equal fair lending within the communities. And I'll tell you where I'm going with all this when we get done. Or was that the Republican? And when you think of the Carnegies were the ones who actually started the eugenics program in order to slow down the population in the fear of the have-not to challenge the haves. Because what they were trying to do is keep separation of the people, keep the people fighting at bay, and we the top can fight, or we can continue to keep our goods, aka lordship versus bondage. So as I present those three at you, Jim Crow laws, the right for women to work, and redlining, who were the ones who brought forth those three opportunities for all people?
Okay, so to answer your question, I think you already know those answers. Is that correct?
I'm asking.
No, I'm asking you. I understand what you're saying, but you already know the answer to a question that you're asking me, right?
That's the width of a Republican.
No.
Of a Republican.
Okay.
Here's my thing. Red.
Get to the point.
Okay, then. If you choose not to, it's okay. If you choose not to answer, it's okay. Red and blue makes purple. They come from the same cloth, and you said it, the king language. So it is still under the British domain, aka the British Empire. But my point is this: what people really don't understand is, while you have the feudal, aka still representative of the monarch, and people still pay taxes or pay homage to the British Empire, they take their independence. That's what you have to really be careful of. You're still connected. But my point is, those programs are for those who are less fortunate. Once you pick yourself up, supposedly, I'm going to use a Republican slang, by the bootstrap, then people turn Republican. So people who are less fortunate or either abandoned, because a lot of women were abandoned, when men walk out, they become Democratic. When they learn how the system works, then they become Republican. So it's not as though the welfare state of the Democrat is the lesser of the evil. That's one thing we have to be careful of, because those programs are there for the less fortunate, and when they wake up, they become Republican.
Okay, so let me help you out.
About it,
I'm going to answer your question if I can. Okay. If I can answer your question, go ahead, finish your thought. No, go ahead, finish your thought. Go ahead, finish. Okay.
But my point of doing this is not to turn around and try to throw dirt or shun anything you're saying, because I agree with what you're saying. Because at one time I was Republican. I get it. But I understand commerce now. And if I had an opportunity again, I would be neither. And I would be private. But while in the public of understanding how this initiation of balancing the two, and I hope I don't confuse as I'm saying this, some people need one of the parties who are less fortunate, who may not know how it works, and then they educate themselves. As yourself, you're educated now. Now you are a Republican. In your closer season, I don't want to say to the end, that you're more mature. But for those who may not understand or may have had the child early in life, sometimes they need those programs. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Okay. Can I answer your question? First of all, I never was a Democrat. I have always been a Republican. Okay. My father, you must have didn't come. You came in late, so let me give you a little history. I'm gonna make it short. My father and my mother both are from the South. Okay, and I also talked, and I also said, okay. Okay. Thank you. I apologize. Okay. I also said the Commonwealth in America is still tied to England, and I also said the Commonwealth consists of the African nations that empower the Queen and could be empowering us. And I also said Republicans and Democrats have structured things to work divisively against us. And I also have said this is a game of chess playing when it comes to the Constitution and the rights and the rights that are upon us to utilize them. So as far as what we can do and how we can move forward is to realize what leverage, assets, and commodities we have as Americans. If you don't want to be American, if you want to get stuck on parties, that's your thing, that we can use in our best interests. I don't know where you live. Let me finish. You will not let me finish, but you want to preach to me. So since I listened to you and I did.
I apologize. Continue. I apologize.
I don't know where you live, but in California, the infrastructure of welfare, EBT cards, and the poor are being used as commodity and trades on the stock exchange of the streets, where people will get those cards. That's why they didn't want the free food that Trump was trying to change the system of saying, let's get some box food to you for what the card is supposed to be used for in this new era. Oh, no. We want the card itself. So if we can trade its value of a lesser mean, that's what they do on the street. So your card might have $100 of EBT on it, but I'm gonna sell you this card. You give me $25 cash, so I can go shoot me up some drugs in my system and leave hypodermic needles all in the street. Or I'm gonna have my cousin Felipe come from Mexico, who comes up with a fake ID and steal black people's ID from downtown Los Angeles. And I interview black people telling me that their IDs are stolen by illegal immigrants and immigrants. And they said, I try to get some help and nobody's helping us. Because see, the infrastructure of commodity and trade, the assets, is the infrastructure designed to protect and help the poor. But it has evolved into a new creature. And so what I'm trying to help you people on the East Coast understand, in the Midwest come understand, there's a new trades of goods and service. And it's not only in a human format, it's a street format. And yes, those things are placed to help the poor. But I got black people with EBT cards and Section 8 vouchers, homeless, if you've watched my videos on YouTube, 67-year-old black woman protecting illegal immigrants living in a tent saying that she got priced out of her property. If you read an article that was in the New York Times stating that poverty level of $120,000 a year is in the state of San Francisco, that is the middle class poor, is $120,000 a year. So what you're seeing is a socialist state develop that I am born into, that I'm trying to help you and not trying to attack you, so that you see that as we as black people aligning ourselves with illegal immigrants and not understand the understanding of the structure of commodity trades and goods and how assets are always trading, are not trading in our best interests.
I understand exactly what you're saying, and I'm gonna let another caller come in. And I hear you. And I am not one of the boule, and I'm not one to try to act as though I can still help others by being in the Democratic Party, because I understand when they first brought the allegiance, they said, I pledge allegiance to my flag and to the Republic. The Republic was always us. I understand that. But those other people were here because you're right, because we were not inclusive when they did create the Constitution, but they amended it and brought us in for the life, liberty, property of the 14th Amendment, what you're speaking of, to give us the ability, while in the jurisdiction of these counties, to be able to come in with a fair dollar. But my thing is that it has not always been to the advantage of people of color through the Republican Party. Neither has it been because of the Democratic Party. But I will sway to your direction that if you choose to do better, once you do learn the language, you do turn Republic and make yourself accountable. Because once you become a Republic, you make yourself one of the majority. Thank you for taking my call.
I appreciate your call, brother. Thank you for correcting the chat. I've heard it said in so many different ways. But if anything, when we know better, we do better. When we talk to each other, we grow. When we put nuggets on the table like you're doing and I'm doing, people are changed. And that's good. Thank you. I got to get some water. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry I had to get some water. I was losing my voice. Woo, how long we been on?
One question to ask. I've been hearing about the Mexicans in California. Are they really from what one person would bring up, that they're attacking black women and children, like firebombing their houses of these Mexicans?
Absolutely. And Boyle, there's an article talking about that in Boyle Heights. They've done that. The gangbangers have broken the black gang members up. Many of them are incarcerated. Like I said, excuse me, look, I ain't trying to talk about gay men or men who may not be alpha, meaning one of authority. Like I'm an alpha sister, right? Excuse me, but I would tell you this. Black men are shorter in California because a tall black man is targeted. If you're tall and dark, you are what they call threatening. But if you're a little dark man, you're non-threatening. Your body caves in. You kind of don't really look people in the eye. You're kind of a little bit down. You have lower self-esteem. These are things that you don't realize there's a spirit of oppression because of the firebombing, because of government empowering illegal immigrants. We can't sell incense on the street. We can't sell dinners on the corner. But they're out there, they got their tamales and the tacos and the chicken. Their hands and their nails are all nasty. They don't have no hair net. They got stolen grocery carts. I show you that on my YouTube channel. I filmed them, and they're making money under the table. They are building a wealth for themselves, illegally not paying any taxes on that. They're skimming off the government with their EBT cards. They're selling the cards. They're using fake IDs. They're selling the IDs of black people stolen on the streets. See, y'all in the West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, you marching and fighting for these people? They don't assimilate, they don't associate, and you ain't nothing but a nigga, a lazy ass nigga. Look at that nigga. And then they speak in Spanish and won't speak English to you. They spit on your food and they won't hire you. You know why they don't want to hire you? Because you black. They don't hire Lupe and their cousin and their uncle. And not only will they not hire you, the legal immigrant hire illegal immigrant so they can pay less taxes in this country because the illegal immigrants get paid under the table. Y'all don't know the game. I'm trying to bring you up to plate. I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to help you out. It's about commodity trades and goods.
Wait, hold on, let's finish. Okay.
I'm done. Go ahead.
And before you say something, Joshua, before you say something, open Sarge mic. And Sarge, I'm open mic, and please, here's a question because it's kind of short, please. Now, look, you know I say things once a second, most people, so let me get right to it. Every single Jim Crow law that was passed in the South was passed by Democrat, Redeemer government in the wake of Reconstruction when the federal troops were pulled out. Every single one. No Republican legislator ever passed a Jim Crow law. Ever. Not one.
Tell you, Sarge, you always like to do that. Well, let me ask you a question, Sarge.
I got that.
I'm going to go with the Dixiecrat.
And you know, some of those Dixiecrats still live today. Some of those Democrats, look up the word Dixiecrat, and you see them old motherfuckers still in office. You're like, how old is he? You know, Robert Byrd just died in, I think, 2010. He was a Dixiecrat. He was the head of a Klansman. He had a position. And he was 92 years old, still running. Whose fault was that? Hello? Okay. Well, you tell me, hold on, I want to say this. Look, y'all keep coming to me telling me the Republicans did this, the Democrats did this. What does this do for black people? Neither one of you Negroes on this phone call have sat back and told me legislation to move us forward in 2018. I don't care who allocated what and who did it first. And I have not been on here advocating for Republicans. I've been advocating for capitalism. I've been advocating for advocacy of understanding assets and commodities and having legislation to better and correct the faults of our own doing by allowing the leverage of the Constitution amendments that were written for us, for other people. So please stop calling in telling me, well, do you know this part of history? Let me see how smart and how you're smarter than me. I know this Constitution. I know this Jim Crow. I don't give a rat's ass of what you know, Negro. What I do know is, okay, I will give you respect in the sense that both parties have failed and succeeded in legislation, but they were the ones empowered. Now I want to say to you is this. We have an administration and a president right now, Donald J. Trump, who is a president that understands commodities, trades, and goods. For example, let's pivot. NATO right now have been disrupted immensely because he went in there saying that we were paying, I think it was $706 billion towards NATO. And the job of NATO is to keep peace and provide for poverty, and everybody's supposed to put into the pot. And then you help those nationally, like a Section 8 in the pot. That's the way you can look at it. You know, it's a Section 8 in the pot to help other countries. What happened was we put in all of this, and other countries would just put a little bit in, and we would say, hey, why are we putting in more and you putting in less? That's because you got more money. Oh, okay. Trump said, oh, it don't work like that, boo-boo. We're stopping that right now. You put in your part, I put in my part, and then y'all figure all that out with what's in there. Well, wait a minute. We need this money for that. You will learn to work with what is a fair share for every country and stop sucking the tit of America. Now, you can't tell me that ain't power. That's power, baby. That's power. And then you say it with a smile. You say it with a smile. So we have to understand that we should be learning from this administration. When we talk about the trades and goods and services of China and intellectual property rights, we're talking about intangible goods versus tangible goods. Okay? We need to be focusing on that. We need to stop these games of I know more than you. Stop these games of I've got more history of understanding the party and the terminologies. We all ain't gonna get that right. But what we can't get right is right now we got mass incarceration. We have Black people who are hurting, no Black businesses, Black people not knowing they can get governmental contracts, no legislation, no lobbyists, and no understanding of the addendums of the Constitution that were written for us. We're not doing that. We're not focusing on that. We're too busy online fighting each other of who got the bigger dick in the room. Well, I'm going to tell you who got the bigger dick in the room. It's a bet you're hearing right now. And I'm telling you right now, we need to unite as a people. And let me finish my thought. We need to unite as a people and put our egos aside and love each other and come up with solutions addressing the pain. And then be a louder voice at the table instead of the backs of others and the pain for others. Stop letting them ride on our back. And stop letting the Latinos go to Latino Coalition. They talk about money and numbers. We keep talking, well, you know, I didn't get this. We ain't supposed to get a check and we supposed to get this. Obviously, they ain't giving that to us, right? But what should we do? We should understand the power of who we are and move forward through that. Are you there?
Hey, Gary, did you guys hear something, Gary? Sorry, my mic was too sorry. Like you said before, when we're talking about how men doing what they call a phallus contest, which was bigger than the other. And I said, well, you know, that might have it, but you know, we're looking weak right now as men right now in this competitive world. But one thing, I'm gonna open back ABC, Brian, and the rest of them. You about to say something, Joshua? Yeah, no, I just wanted to just let her know. Thank her for, you know, I've been in California for 33 years, so I know the dynamic between Latinos and Blacks, or Mexican and Blacks, and I witnessed it. I saw it. I saw the outcomes. I saw the fights. I saw the high school. You know, the high school riots between Blacks and Mexicans.
Yes.
In California, so it was really got hot out there, and that's what a lot of people don't know. Before I moved back to Delaware, which I've been home just for two months, and so that's why you asked me, like, you know, the stealing and all that. That's why I said no, because I haven't been home. So a lot of politics I don't know. I just don't know them right now. But at the same time, I spent most of my time in California.
I put them on mute. Doug and
of course, you know,
you're a moderator. Big Sap, you're a moderator. And Ivy, you're a moderator. Thank you both. Thank all three of y'all. Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you for your patience. I know I'm saying some bad words. Please forgive me.
They're going to continue to have battles until they
Join Urban Game Teachers.
It's coming here too because they're coming to the East Coast. They really are. But they're coming here to the East Coast as well. So it's not like Delaware is a predominantly Black city. So in this city, you see them sparkling, coming up every now and then, some Mexican, whatever. But that's about it. But it's coming here too. So we're here for a make things as well. That's what I gotta say.
So what I wanted to say, sister, was thank you. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I can. Go ahead.
Sister?
Yes.
Okay. So what I wanted to say was thank
but for the white men and they're masturbating with the largest follicle to who can know them more. I agree with you, and we need to stop that. So if we look at politics in a commerce realm versus the political statement of what these individuals say, we would do ourselves a better justice. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Look at it from a commerce direction.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what I get upset with. How we choose to want to understand politics only to what a naysayer, aka a politician, speak. But you said it best. We need to get a lobbyist for our community to whoever we put in office through our dollars. Thank you for taking my call. I did appreciate you. I still champion you to everything you brought forth this night.
Thank you so much, and I thank you so much. See, let me say something. Hold on. See that brother right there. That brother's empowering. Hey, listen. That brother, he's an empowering brother. You are an empowering brother, and you have a good energy of distribution, and that's what we need to gravitate to, more brothers like you. More brothers like you. You add to the table. Make sure you sign up for Urban Game Changers. And if anybody want to contact me, it's shirleyhusar@gmail.com. Go ahead, shirleyhusar@gmail.com, because we have to put our differences aside and stop trying to say, I got more degrees than you do. Them overly educated Negroes that run this country and run the streets are homeless downtown LA. LA is filthy and full of educated Black people because they don't have street savvy or political commodity savvy. And we've got to change that.
Well, one thing outside, I look at those so-called Negroes as trained Negroes because if the education was so useful, and everybody should educate themselves, I agree. Then it should lead to a sense of direction of power. Because in this country, the capitalist power rules. And if you've gone to spend your time in school to attain something that's valued and it doesn't equate to a sense of power down the line, then it is really a form of trading for somebody else. I tell you, we got to change the mindset how we go about in this world today, in the 21st century. What we doing 50 years ago will not work today. Okay? Matter of fact, what the things we're doing right now are going further backwards. I remember one time when they said, who's that guy that runs Hub? The European lady told us that, about the housing thing, how they extended to I think it was 2020, I don't know what year it was again, and said that these people need some housing, and told him directly, said, what you're doing, what has happened is the home ownership of Black people has not expanded or has increased over 5 decades. So really, our people are going backwards, even with home ownership. So what's happened is we're slowly losing our grip of power in this United States country. And as we continue to drop down from wherever percent we are to place we are, you're not getting that much nothing. If you're once I think it was third or fourth, I believe. Now it's almost 5 now. Because the out Mexicans, all these other kids upshot like number 3 or number 2 now in population in regards to demand, and we like behind them. So the further we go down, we gonna get scrappy. That's it.
Well, but I want you to understand, even the things that we put back into our own community, we're letting them lead. The Koreans, all the hair that we put on our head, why are we the ones to stop that and say, you know what? We're not going to buy from your store. We're going to buy for our own. But we have institutions out there like the Business Institute. I'm going to look this up. There's a gentleman who's trying to train more Black people to own their own stores, beauty shops and salons, because the Chinese people are stealing our intellectual property right. That's something we should bring to the table of Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump, in the urban communities, there's a culture of people who have stolen our rights. Look what happened with the farmers in the South recently was sold seeds to plant that had no nutritional value in it. And when their harvest came up, it destroyed all of the rest of their crops. See, they're sabotaging our liquidity of commodity. And ain't none of y'all talking about that, but you're talking about Pookie and the Kardashian making asses on their bodies. Come on, let's just keep it real. These are things that we have. My understanding, there's 3,500 Black men in this country who own farms. That's empowering. 3,500 farms in this country are we eat our own people's food and they don't even get recognized, but instead they got to fight right now. Look it up. Somebody look it up and tell me in the chat room that farm situation where they sold those people those bad seeds. We all should be marching and standing right behind those farmers. And every time a black child gets killed, we ought to march and stay in protest. Y'all don't understand. See, the civil rights weren't about just marching. They were understanding to intervene in the commodity of equity and money in this country. When they didn't ride the bus, the people couldn't make money. When they decided to not do anything with the trash, they couldn't get money. Everything had to equate to money. We don't have that kind of strategy. We getting screaming and yelling and fighting with the cops and pointing and destroying our own community. We need to twist that around. I'm
Hey, Rick, what you doing is insanity right now. Wait, I back up. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Is she drunk?
I'm here. Look, this is the point I'm making. We have to realize, okay, if we don't have the white man's money, but we have our own money, and we're giving it to the Koreans for the hair, we're letting them, we were the ones that cooked. You know how the food channels don't have no black people? And people forgot we're the ones that cooked. We're the ones that said, you know what? If you don't want the pig feet and you don't want the pigtails and you don't want the other part of the pork, we'll make that pork rise and shine, baby. That's how they came up with the brisket and all these other things. Those were the parts of the meat that they wanted. When you look at turnip greens, the greens was the head of the turnip. They ate the turnip. We had the greens. The nutrition was in the greens. Come on, y'all need to know your history of what you're eating. I'm a child of the indigenous slave tribe. If I say that right or wrong, I come from black slaves. Okay, so all these other people come here and I'm all this, I'm all that. And they're very well versed in where their other part of their country. But yet they say, oh, but I'm also African American. And they can't tell you nothing about that. That tells me where your passion and your alliance lean towards. I always listen to people. And when they start talking about African American as if it's a passe or it's also in my DNA, well, it ought to be in your DNA. Most people have some type of form of Africa, but that ain't the point. The point is, do you understand the history of the tribe that's within you, which is the children who laid their backs down for you? But I'm saying this to say, in today's time with the farmers and with restaurants and with hair, look, we need to say, look, we need to take those businesses back. And we ain't mad at you, Korean man. We just ain't buying from you no more. We're not discriminating. We're not blocking. But trust me, true. That hair document they did, there was a store in Oakland that had a hair shop. The Korean man opened up one next door, and then he called the cops on the blacks saying that they tried to burn his place down because he caught on fire. And they said, we didn't do that. And now they had further investigation, and they didn't tell the rest of the story. See, they will sabotage you or themselves personally to disable you.
Yeah, they have done that.
They will sabotage themselves and claim victim. I'm a victim. You don't respect me. I need the respect. They need respect. I said, fuck your respect and go back and fix your fucking country. Stop coming over here riding on the backs of black people and expect us to be calm and reserved and just say a yes, master, to people who don't have our rights. You just, okay. What you do with this is you have your lawyers, you have your attorneys. You ain't got to get loud. Y'all get loud the wrong way. He said, that's okay. We're going to put this legislation again. We're going to put a symbol of people together, and we are not buying from you. We have the right to pick it on the street, and we're going to pick it on the side of our side, and we're going to say, don't buy from you. We're not buying from you, Mr. So-and-so. If 20 or 30 of y'all would do that today and start telling black people we're not buying from them because they don't put back into our community. They take and they give it overseas, and they disrupt us, and they're rude to us. Why the hell would you sit there and pander to these people who think of you of a lesser than species as if we're creatures, and we take it? I don't get it. I sit back and say, oh no, I'm not doing that. You have to learn the King's English, and you have to learn to control your energy and getting your part across. When you're around them, just preach law. Same thing with the police officers. We have to start going back to the empowerment of who we are. Yes, go ahead.
I just want to throw this in there. It's right in line with what you're saying there about holding back our money and this kind of thing. Most all of what I'm hearing you talk about is, and you say capitalism, money to get into politics, this kind of thing. But what do you say to the idea that, there's a lot of us that got money. We have a spending power of over $1 trillion as a Black community, but it's the way we think about this stuff. It's our mind. We don't have our minds ain't right. We can't come together. You just talked about if we didn't buy from the Koreans and stuff for the hair products, then that would drive them out of the business, and we buy from ourselves. We don't have the mindset. And do you talk about that when you go around doing your thing? And what's your take on that?
And I do talk about that. I had an event, shout out to Afro Synergy. He's actually in the chat room on YouTube. I'm so grateful for him. And even though y'all don't like ABL all the time, he was there. And we had an event in Washington at a place called Oohs and Ahs, owned by Karen and Oz Abbott. They're Black-owned, conservative, Black-owned business that we helped. And we had our event and everyone was able to get a dinner and we talked about these issues. Some things we don't need to do online. Let me say that again. Some things we don't need to do online because silence is power. But we do need to have an agenda. We're being tracked. We're being watched. They may be listening and watching our show right now, taking notes. Doesn't matter. We can't live in fear. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and sound mind. And the silence is power, but the voice that speaks up for truth and justice will prevail. So to answer your question, yes, absolutely. We need to come to the table and discuss just basic things of common sense and things that make sense. If you know better, you do better. But if you don't know better and your mama was a thug and your grandmama was a thug and your cousin, and you got your 4 or 5 generations of welfare, EBT. But then on the other hand, your intellect, your daddy raped you, he was a sperm donor. You have all these issues against you, but then you're intellect and you read and you're trying to come with reasoning. But then on the other hand, your life does not match what they say in the books. A lot of confusion going on. We need to reach down for those of us who didn't go through that, who were blessed to have good parents and good aunts and uncles who understand what we were, while we still are living, to help the next generation realize what they have in their assets and their leveraging. Now, I want to add something that you said, which was so brilliant, and I've not talked about this, and that's this whole thing with the NFL and all these entertainers who are more left. These entertainers, hold on, let me finish my thought, who don't want to kneel to the flag and all that. I say this, these people, Whoopi Goldberg makes $45 million a year. These contracts, 100 million, 10 million, 20 million, they don't even have a common sense to say, let's pool together and we're not going to look for the government to fix our people. We're going to pool our money together and we're going to create an infrastructure of a local police security system. And it's going to be the XYZ security system. And we're going to pool our money together and we're going to fix our communities. We're going to rebuild our communities, but provide a leverage of opportunity. But their mindset is, we're up here with the white people. We got the money. We got to play their game or they won't hire us for Hollywood. We won't get the commercials. If we start talking pro-Black in that sense, then we're threatening our income and we won't be able to leverage that power. Now, shout out to the Smiths, because I don't always agree with Jada and Will Smith, but they've done some recent bold moves when it came to the Oscar. But they said we need more Blacks. So what did white America do? I'm going to tell you what white America did. They gave the Blacks the next year the Oscar. It was called a movie called what? Moonlight. What did it do? It emasculated the Black man. It was Moonlight, right? Someone help me out. It emasculated the Black man. Huh? Say it again?
Yep, you're right.
It emasculated the Black man. So then not only the Black man, the Black children. So you had pedophilia, Black men watching young men kiss, and doing whatever. And then you had beautiful black man, the one that you thought, whatever that Negro is, that he's in all the superhero movies and he was in a House of Cards. That's the only Afro strong brother you got. They cast him and put him on that chopping block saying, see, he ain't nothing but a punk ass bitch too. We got him to do the job. We can get any one of these niggas to put a dress on and some makeup. Y'all need to make up and recognize Hollywood is playing. Hollywood is playing. I'm from Cali. I'm from Cali. They playing all y'all. Y'all think, oh, these brothers and sisters, they ain't making it big. They ain't giving nothing back to us. Look what the Chinese communities do. Look, look at the Jewish foundations, the Jewish entertainers, the Jewish athletes, the Jewish influencers and writers and creators. They give to foundations to hire other Jewish students. They give loans so they can buy more businesses. What foundations do we have? The NAACP? What foundation? They gave you some college degrees. They give you some loans to go to college. These people are giving loans to start businesses, to own property. Come on, say it again. Say it again.
They get you in debt. And really, that is the next slavery that's coming because since 2003, and it was said that I did a show on this a couple months back about this debt situation that now is so tuition of college keeps going up every year now, and people get loans with the interest. Some people have not been paying consistently since 2003. So whoever's been lacking or not paying, see, it went up with interest. So what's going to happen in the next 5, maybe 10 years? Because really, these things going to be default anyway, because they're going to find ways to collect that money. Now, there are a lot of black people that get these degrees, and if they're not super high paying jobs, which most of them not anyway, they're put in debt to put them more in a permanent slave cap. Because once your debt is up there, your credit fucked up. And I heard some people there's ways to correct it, and maybe so. But think about this. How is it so that you get a loan to go to college, but you can't get a business loan or some other things? So the game is really rigged. I'm telling you right now. This ain't no joke here. Other nations could probably get the loan for that, but yeah, go ahead.
But if we had lobbyists, everything you said is so right. You're so right and so true. If we had lobbyists and we would say, this is the deal. Yeah. We need to make sure that the children of the indigenous slave tribe and any tribe after that, we have to differentiate that. And I say that because everybody will say there's something so they can dig into this pot. We have to clarify this pot. And there are going to be some black people who are listening on like this. You may not qualify because you might have 2 or 3 generations. You might be from Belize or some other country and you call yourself black. You say, I'm oppressed like you. I said, I understand that, but you are an American based on the American system of being integrated into the system. I am an American because of commodities and trades and goods and service. They didn't bring me here as an immigrant. I'm not an immigrant. Let me say this again. I am not an immigrant. I came here as commodity and I'm a bloodline descent. Those bloodline descent people like myself would structure things up like the Jewish foundations that got money allocated towards us, and we start structuring foundations that should be going to us, unlike the CBC's foundation that have special black people who get special money and not the rest of us. We need to deal with that. You are so on point when you say they put us in debt so that we continue to be oppressed. And they won't give us money for businesses. We can't get franchises. I was in DC. What's that historical black city that starts with an A? Somebody think of it and type it in the chat room. I went through that area. Huh? Say it again. No, there's a city outside of Washington that's a historical black city. It starts with an A, and I can't think of it. Frederick Douglass's home is in that area. I went over there, and they had a new store. Huh? Lee said it's called A-N-P. I can never say A-N-A-P-O-L, Appolis. I think you're right. That might be it. Anyway, I want you guys to realize that I went there. They had a Subway owned by Indian. He can get a loan. The Indian can get a loan. Oh, I can get a loan. What do you want to eat? I'm like, well, where are the black people? Oh, we do. You guys can't own anything. You don't know how to run a business. You black people don't know how to own a business. You don't know how to run a business. We know how to run businesses. Who owns the gas stations? The Saudi Arabians who cannot stand black Americans. Who runs the food industry and the clothing industry? I told you the Chinese come here and we don't get the wholesale. They get the a direct sale. And they're selling it to us wholesale higher. I mean, less and undercutting us, so they're in control. And what do they do on the flip side? They're probably charging us more now that they're in control. Y'all better understand your power and leverage. Start waking up. Stop buying from these people. Stop buying from them. If we sat back and had private conversations offline, and we sit back and say, what is our structure area of point of target? We would look at the foods and trade industry, and we would look at the hair industry and say, look, we realize the police are going to keep killing people. But when you start playing with some pocketbooks, you gain power. And when you gain power, you can leverage. And then when you can leverage, you can save your people. That's a lot right there. You can save your people.
Well, I'm
2.5 hours in.
Because we have 20 more minutes after the show. And I'm opening the lines for all y'all guys. I'm going to start with Sarge.
I put them on mute. Do me a favor. Please click the like button and share this damn video. Help me out, people. Click the like button. Let's get the likes up. That way the algorithms will start showing this video. I think that I've said some very empowering things. And I know I'm starting to grow my channel. I support a lot of those who are watching this channel. So please get the likes up. Share this video. Share this video on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. You can also email me at Shirley Husar at gmail.com.
Well, I think that Husar brought up a superb point about commodities and trade, because I used to own an auto repair business in Chicago. And one of the biggest inhibitors to our growing our business, meaning our Army buddy I started our auto repair shop with, was the taxes and the regulations from the city of Chicago that inhibited our growth.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, this is a policy that, given the fact that 1/3 of all small businesses fail within 10 years, one of the biggest factors in those failures are taxes and regulations.
Yes, yes.
And believe me, you find it in abundance in Democrat-run cities and states. All right, thank you, Sarge.
No, and Sarge, let me say this to you. And Sarge, you're exactly right. But let's go back. We keep talking about Democrats and Republicans. I'm at this point now, I don't care who the fuck runs your city. And I don't mean to curse. But if you cannot tell me, and I'm going to reiterate this again, I'm going to repeat this. You can't tell me who your assembly is. You can't tell me your senator. You can't tell me your congressional leader. You can't tell me who your governor is. But you can tell me you hate Trump. I got that. Fuck Trump, fuck Trump, Trump. Fuck him, fuck him. I got that, okay? You want to fuck him, go ahead. But the bottom line, you getting fucked yourself. Because you don't realize your ass is getting fucked by the governor, the senator, the school board, the water board who controls your money. The city of Bell and the city of Vernon, California, 1 year, the city council people were making $800,000 to $400,000 a year on a city council position because they were pimping the people and raising their utilities. City of Bell and City of Vernon, you look that up. I'm not making this stuff up. I live it. So I'm just letting you know that what you're saying is true. But if we don't hold, I don't care what party you are, and I don't want to know about the history of a Republican or the Democrats and what they did and how they failed us and where we're at. It is about law and order. And since this is a law and order president, and this president is about justice and a nationalism, then we as Black people should be nationally within ourselves making a correction. And do not tell me that Black people are poor. That's why I differ with Yvette Cornell on this one, and I love Yvette. But Yvette continues to talk about poverty and Blacks can't have nothing. You have a leverage right just because you're in this country, and you work wherever you got and you make it work. You make it work, and stop whining in the pain and live in the opportunity, whatever that is. If you wake up every morning in a state where you're not in a sovereign or a socialist country like Venezuela or any of those countries, you are a blessed child of God. But you have to own that right. You must breathe that right. You must take that right and act upon it.
Reggie,
Gary, I just want to say this. That I'm grateful for the guests coming forward, bringing forth a good energy and let those have ears here. And I heard and I'm inspired and I heard wisdom today. I'm grateful. And I'm going to revisit this program tonight and make sure I got everything to be able to get in contact. Thank you, sis. Appreciate you.
Thank you, my brother. And if you guys want me on your show or you want to email me at shirleyhusar@gmail.com, we are trying to embark upon a major event in October. We need to raise funds, and I'll be sharing that with you soon. But we want to do something that's going to empower people to have a place to walk to. This whole walk away movement, I already told you the Republicans got their issues. So they talk about walk away from the Democrat. Where are we supposed to walk to? One trap zone to another? Unless we learn the game on the table, y'all need to go play chess. Go learn how to play chess. Learn, just play the game. Play chess, and you will empower yourself. Go online, go to richdad.com, click on the game, and play the classic version of richdad.com. And there's two parts, excuse me. The rat race, there's two circles in the game. The everyday rat race, and then getting out to learn to use trades and goods so that you can have cash flow. What does that mean? That means you own properties that while you're sleeping, you're making money while you sleep. And for those who talk about taxes, taxes is the rent that you pay to live in this country. My mentor said that, and I swear by that. Taxes are the rent you pay to live in this country. So when you don't want to pay your taxes and you say, I'm not American, all that stuff, and they put you in tax evasion, they put a lot of wealthy white people in jail for taxes. Keep that in mind. They're not racist on that part because the government wants their money. So let Sam get his money, but my God, understand you have the right to yours as well.
Okay. ABC, anything closing remarks from my guest?
I just say thank you, sister. I thought that you were going to come on and just make it about, all about the right of Republicans and conservatives and all that stuff. And I really don't like that kind of thing. I think we're being played by both of them. But I heard you just now, and I've heard you throughout, and I get what you're saying. So I appreciate you coming on, and I hope you'll come on again.
I appreciate that. Someone asked me in my chat room just to let you know what kind of cash flow jobs Big Sap said out there. Big Sap, to let you know, cash flow jobs it's not about jobs. Cash flow is what you receive when you own property or assets. Because in the long run, it could be worth something. So if you have a piece of art, even if it's black or white, it's not about, it's a black thing. It's about an asset. This pencil right now costs 1 cent. In the future, there's not going to be this type of lead. It's going to be a very rare pencil. I'm giving you a hypothetical story. And this pencil you see, Big Sap, the top tip is real silver. They don't use real silver anymore. So it goes on the auction block and is now worth $100. You paid next to nothing, but it increased in value. Now you can sell it and you have cash. The next thing you do is you go buy some properties where people have to live, like this water's in this bottle. The water has to go somewhere. The water won't stay in the bottle unless it has a place to go. You own the container. Now, if you drink the water out, there's some more water that you could put in the bottle, and that creates money in your pocket. That's cash flow. That has nothing to do with a job. Cash flow is being able to use stocks and bonds and you leverage them and cash them out, or you use real estate so it brings you some kind of cash coming into your pocket. A lot of people are able to make money on utilities, electric, gas, and oil. That's a whole nother level. See, we have to jumpstart ourselves in a sense of social media and Black consciousness of saying, this is where we're at, but this is where we need to go. But you can't be at the club. You can't be hoeing and sucking dicks and pussies all night. You need to be online and understand YouTube videos. No, I'm serious. And you need to understand governmental contracts. You got people out there, like the show that brother has, the SCORE contract with Eric Coffey. You just look up Eric Coffey. He talks about how you can get governmental contracts, or you could be the mediator and you can find people who have existing businesses and you introduce them to the contracts you did the homework for and get a commission off of that. And there's people who do that all the time because those contracts are very specific for a certain class of people that don't know that the government wants to hire them. And you come in and say, hey, I know all the paperwork. They're not going to circumvent you because no one has brought them to the table. You might get them to sign an NDNC and you made a study on that and know what that means. Look, there's a lot of way for us to make money. But if we live in poverty and we converse in poverty and we continue to focus on the past, we cannot move forward in the future.
All right, Joshua, and first I got to ask one more question. Can we
right, my last question. Now, let's see how quick you could, or time we have left.
3 hours in.
Capitalism and socialism. Which one you prefer?
Well,
Why?
that's a given.
And the reason why I ask this question is because I hear a lot of people come and say, and some of them now that's trying to put people in office in local cities that this person is a socialist and wants to deal things on a social level or a socialist instead of dealing in a capitalist type of way. So I just want to hear from your mouth, well, a few minutes we have left, the difference in your perspective and opinion.
Big Mama got a store. She got a lot of money. You say, Big Mama, I need some money. She said, you got to earn this money, baby. You got to earn this money. You got to go out and do some good. Big Mama, you going to give me your money because I'm your nephew. You think Big Mama going to give you that money? She might slap you in the mouth. She might look at you crazy and say, now you done lost the job. I ain't going to give you nothing. But you know you're not going to respond that way because you know she got the money. And you're going to do what she says so that you can capitalize off of the leverage of her being your Big Mama so that you can make some money. Now here comes another person up to Big Mama and say, Big Mama, I need some money. Same story. So I told you, dog, this is how you go to her. I'm going to straighten Big Mama out. I'm older now. I understand the game. I said, okay, Big Mama, you got the money. You need to give me that money. Why? Because I'm hurting. I got a girlfriend now. She got 2 kids. You related to me. You got more money than we do. We deserve that money. And we need it. You single, your children are grown. Every time I see people coming in your store, Big Mama, you got a lot of good stuff and you're making a lot of money. You should give me that money. But baby, why should I give you that money? Because my baby and my wife, we have less. We deserve it. What did you do to deserve the right to think I'm going to just give you something without working for it? See, there's an opportunity of understanding that to gain in this country was founded on goods and trades and commodity. But when you bring in the mindset of socialism, it has a sense and a taint of entitlement. I am entitled just because I'm in America. I'm illegal, but I'm not illegal. You're actually an alien. But they've taken that ruling out and said you're illegal. But illegal has become legal. But if a brother gets and robs a store, that nigga's definitely done an illegal act and will be punished for that. But when we say illegal immigrants, it's okay. The illegals are driving the narrative of socialism because their own infrastructure is not in place in their country. And they realize they can't beat them down, but they're going to beat us up. And all the years that we put into this country, we built into this country, is now being stripped out. As the same way the nourishment within the soil of a ground is stripped, that is what they're doing to the Blacks and to the community of America. We do not need socialism, which entitles people to think that government, which it does, takes care of everything. But what they're not telling you is this. In socialism, you drink their water, you eat their bread, you eat their food, you wear their clothes. It's whatever they say you must do. You will have protection and coverage to an extent of just being drones. And the Bible said that God has given every man a free will. How is that for free will when you got somebody telling you how to eat, sleep, and breathe in your life? We come from a capitalist country, and you are a disdain and a disgrace to the dead for who died so that you can have better. And instead, you have become lazy, you have become placid, and you Black men who have just masturbated all over the place with gays and other women have abandoned your children, and the women are suffering. The women have stepped up and they had to be more the man. We got to twist that, and a sister needs to tone the hell down and share her child. That woman needs to realize you laid in that bed, you opened your legs, you created that child, and you need to respect that man and let him have time to converse and develop a relationship. If we want better, we do better. Socialism divides us, and it makes us a total dependent entity. We will not capitalize, and we will not become a true Black nation of people of wealth if we align ourselves with that mindset.
All right. Well said. Thank you again, Shirley Husar. And I might bring it on for a future show again because I think a presentation to us tonight on Talk Solutions. There's some energy we never come across, and we have many guests guests on here. But I think you bring a different element that, it just sets a spark. And I appreciate that.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming in. Please go to urbangamechangers.com. Please make a donation to Urban Game Changers. And if you have sponsors who have bigger dollars that can come to the table, please email me and I'll tell you our portfolio that we have in mind for what we want to do. Just to let you know my history, I am a realtor. I graduated from USC Financial Real Estate Development. I understand infrastructure and development. I also have been an advocate in the urban communities. You can look me up on LinkedIn and find out that I'm a structured person and I'm not a person just to waste your money. We are really going to go for it. Under this administration, we need to jump and take advantage of the 400-year anniversary that we're about to embark upon. We have to make the Black people the loudest thing in the room for the year of 2019.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
I guess that's it, you guys. I just hung up. So anyway, did I think they hang up? I think they did we, are you there? Hello? Oh, wait. The line's on. I don't know if he's in. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching on YouTube. It has been 2 hours and 55 minutes. It takes a lot of energy to do these shows all the time. I don't know how O'Shea does it so long. O'Shea I'm so jealous of you, O'Shea. I appreciate you. I appreciate Afro Synergy and all of y'all are just amazing people out there who are making the fight and the plight for acknowledgement. I think the problem that we have right now is that we're pandering into energies that we should not be doing. We should do our homework. I'm getting off, Kenneth. We should do our homework that we say, how can I tomorrow learn something I didn't know yesterday? How can I learn tomorrow something that we didn't know yesterday? I will tell you what you can do is go to the rat race and they're calling me back. I just want to say goodbye. And make those changes that we need to be making. Hello?
The show cut off. It passed the time.
Okay. I'm still live on you. I'm still live on YouTube.
No, my phone hung up. Because usually once I pass the overtime indicates from 1 hour left of the show, my broadcast will after the hour passes the show automatically. The whole entire show.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for moderating. I really appreciate it. And let's keep in touch. Make sure you go to Urban Game Changers. And if you'd like to become part of our leadership team or our active team, let me know. You can email me at shirleyhusar@gmail.com. And, hopefully your guests will share and like all our videos because we need this message to get out there.
One thing, just at the talk, I was looking at the chat room and ABC, the guy that called, he would like to have you on a future show.
Okay.
So I'll probably call in after hour let them know that the information is there. You should look up your email also if you want to have me on this show platform. You should talk to you.
I appreciate that. Let's talk soon, brother. Good night and God bless you.
All right. Good night. Have some rest. Husar. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, sir. God bless you as well.
I'll do this. The guy sent it.
Thank you, Doug.
I already sent you the blog talk show. So I'm probably gonna find a
Oh, good. Thank you. That would be great. That would be great.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, take it out.
You too.
Good night.
Peace. Good night. Man, 3 hours in. That's a long time to do these kind of shows. I will say if y'all got questions, because hopefully you got a lot of them answered on that last call. What else can I say? Think outside the box. Don't be trapped in who you are and what they want you to do. Add something of value each day. Go tomorrow and say, this is what I need to do. I study the rat race. Study commodities, trades, and goods. Understand your constitutional rights through the amendment. Stop aligning yourself with people who don't really respect and love who you are. Stop aligning and stop bringing up assets of nuggets of, well, we have to help them. You need to help your own. You need to take care of your family. You need to be a better example to your children. And if you are in a situation in Chicago or Atlanta and you know that you're in an area that's very crime ridden and the police and the states aren't doing anything, you find out how you can move your Section 8 voucher and you take that voucher, listen to me, you take that voucher and you say, I want to move. I'm not staying in this city anymore. And I know that Section 8 is a federal document where it's nationwide, right? Nationwide. I want to take this document and I want to move to Nebraska or somewhere. Do your homework. You got at least a cell phone. Take your cell phone and start doing some research, but move, wake up. Wake the hell up and do better. Because if you want better, you do better. Thank you guys for following me. I'm going to end this because I can hear the kids saying, hey, Mom, you're done. We hit 3 hours. That's amazing. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. I love you guys. Thank you for all the people that came in, for the mods. Envy, I just thank you so much, Envy, greatly. I was so grateful you jumped in with that supremacist person with the coon. I was too busy trying to do the show, so it's hard to moderate. Doug came in. I made him one. Oh my God, Big Sap came in. Afro Synergy came in. Y'all helped me immensely great. Thanks, thank you for that. French too, I see you out there. I see so many Hillary's out there. So many of you guys who have come in. Audrey's out there. I thank you so much for your support, your love. If I haven't said your name, doesn't mean Pam, Pam, I love you as well. Thank you so much, Lee. God bless you and good night.